nice and slow. Your laughter ripples like sweet warm wine. In this jazzy sultry space you're mine. The saxophone croons a velvet tune, while melodies dance beneath the moon. We'll toast to moments both grand and small, in this hazy, lazy, jazz-touched hall. But let's sit together in the mellow night. We'll drink to love till the morning light. Every glass we raise a promise true. Here's to the magic in a drink with you. Your eyes, they sparkle with every click. Sweet rendezvous over a simple drink. We'll share our secrets in whispers low, just you and me where the jazz flows slow. The world outside fades into the mist, but here it's our own dreamy tryst. With each sip our worries drift away. Let's stay together till the break of day. So let's sit together in the mellow night. We'll drink to love till the morning light. Every glass we raise a promise true. Here's to the magic in a drink with you.
The following live stream has been approved for appropriate audiences. It may contain occasional strong language and may not be suitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer inebriation is advised, though not mandatory.
Wow. The Batman. Or is it just Batman?
Well, we'll talk about that and much more as we continue our discussion of the Burtonverse from last week. Good evening, happy Friday, and welcome to Last Call. This brutal work week is done, at least it is for me, and I'm looking to sit down with my friends, have an adult beverage or 5, and talk about stuff we enjoy. Not work, not modern bastardizations of the things we love, and not a bunch of has-been actors fleeing the U.S. No, tonight it's Batman Returns. Share with us your memories of this film and history with the characters. Top off your glasses, tell me what you're sipping on in the chat, and remember,
mistletoe can be deadly if you eat it.
But a kiss can be even deadlier if you mean it.
Last Call is streamed before a live audience.
I forgot to take the mute off, and I forgot to have the intro go into my greeting, but I'll get it figured out.
See, now I expected that clip to be, her looking up the mistletoe. It's like, oh crap, does this mean we got to fight now?
I was this close. I had that clip all lined up, and then I was like, no, I'm going with this one. We'll talk more about that line and a number of others because I kind of revisited Batman Returns, and hot take, and a lot of you might unsubscribe over this, but I actually think it was a better movie than the first one, and I'll explain my reasons why. Welcome everyone to Last Call. Salute to every single one of you. What am I sipping on? I'm sipping on a very brown mumbler, heavy on the mumble. It is so strong that I can barely feel my tongue, and you can see this was filled almost to the top, and I haven't gotten that far into it. So it's
See, now I thought the drink was a mistake because you made a mistake.
it was a mistake.
Quote,
So while I'm still calling it a brown mumbler, it is not a traditional brown mumbler. Brown mumbler, of course, is 2 parts bourbon whiskey and 1 part dark vermouth. But I'm out of dark vermouth, so I gotta get to Binny's and pick up some more dark vermouth. Anyone want to buy me?
Let me make sure it's on the list.
Yeah.
Alexa, add dark vermouth to the shopping list.
You already have dark vermouth on your shopping list.
There you go. Anyone want to buy me some vermouth? By all means, I would greatly appreciate it. Of course, we do have all the chats and the what do they call them? Super chats and super stickers. But I have never removed the PayPal link below if you want to make sure the maximum contribution goes to us. Remember, 33% of your super chats go to our YT overlords. So there you go. Anyway, let's get the folks in here. Starting with my sidekick and the guy who does most of the work on this show, Aged Boomer, looking a lot like my butler tonight. How you doing, my friend? What you sipping on?
I'm doing fine. I'm sipping on a Coke, and I'm contemplating. On Smallville, when Pa Kent had to pay for his state senate campaign, he said he sold the back 40. And at the time, my dad and I had looked at each other, and we said, there has never been mention of any back 40 on this show for like the past 6 or 7 years. And yet here is now back 40. And then they did then when they were watching a video of Pa Kent, like after he passed, he says, oh, this back 40, this is for Clark. And I'm like, no, you never had a back 40.
Well, maybe he bought it back. That's a distinct possibility.
No, the point is this was before. This is I just.
Well, what is the back 40? I mean, it depends on how much acreage.
40 acres, I'm assuming. Yes.
If he had more than 40 acres, then he sold 40 of his acres. You know, that's kind of how it goes.
My dad and I used to think that Pa Kent just assumed the vegetables were supposed to grow out of the ground, that he didn't have to actually do things like planting seeds and plowing. Like he didn't quite understand what it was to be a farmer.
And I would be, there is probably more story there, because if you sell a portion of your land, there is the possibility of leasing it back. There's always, if the purchaser of the land wants you to continue to work the land, you can work out a deal. I would not be surprised if there was something like that. If this was in comic book format, I'll bet you there would have been a line or two that would have mentioned that, especially if the fans were to write into the letters column and ask that question. But I like how you think. You dig into the details. That's important. Go ahead.
Well, I'm looking for consistency in the things I watch. Keep in mind that this is a very minor thing to complain about, unlike all of the destruction canon we've seen since then.
Yeah, I was just going to say, let me use a modern audience's kind of argument. It's fiction. They make it up as they go along. Canon is irrelevant now. Don't get me started. Don't get me started, Boomer. You're supposed to be my designated driver. You're supposed to keep me even.
Okay, that could be your instigator. You mean like Doctor Who?
Oh, well, we'll be talking about Doctor Who in a couple weeks. Not next week, because Boomer needs a week off. So we'll pick this up in 2 weeks when we talk about Doctor Who. Speaking of that lovely voice that just spoke up, my particular Catwoman, Netter of Netters Network, how you doing, my dear? And what are you sipping on? As if I didn't know, you had a heck of a week this week, too.
Yes. I just finished drinking a Netter's Nectar. I mean, literally, I finished the whole thing.
Did you really? Holy crap.
Yeah. And now I'm drinking a Signature Select Seltzer Water cherry flavored. Because unlike Troy, I'm not going to get schnockered, because one of us has to be able to maneuver the other one upstairs.
Oh, my gosh. But yet you pounded a Netter's Nectar.
Yes.
Yeah, but you might have gone a little light on the rum.
No, I had... Okay, this is my glass.
Yes.
I had this much rum.
She had about a third of a highball glass. That's pretty heavy duty for you, Netter. Wow.
It was mostly because my supervisor got me annoyed near the end of the day where I was trying to get something done. And had she not interrupted me...
We're not going to talk work, because if you start talking work, I'll start talking work, and I don't want to think about work.
But it's like I had 15 minutes to get something done, and she interrupted me for something stupid.
I get you.
So I didn't get
went
it done,
all
so
day.
I got annoyed.
I had a crap ton of work from yesterday. Took me all day to get it done. I finally was at even keel. My boss even reached out to me and said, "How's your workload?" I said, "By end of day, I should be copacetic." Then suddenly at 3:30, I get off at 4:30. A bunch of orders just start rolling in because I don't think people check their emails until end of day. I was pissed, but I'm a professional, and I got them done. And now I'm going to get drunk. Let's say hi to all of you who have calmly been waiting for me to get through my screed, starting with the first one that's showing up in the platform, not necessarily the first chat of the night. Connie Cleary, the bird woman of YouTube, says, "Hail, chat, and hail to myself personally. Welcome. You are a beloved channel member. Super, super appreciate you. Hail to FKHC 2005, whom we lovingly refer to as Tim. Welcome, welcome, my friend. Of course, the beautiful cat woman herself, Netter of Netters Network. I love you too, my dear. She does have a Catwoman cosplay too, but wasn't able to find the picture tonight. But that's fine. That's fine. She's still got the costume. I'm a lucky man. Let's just leave it at that. Channel member JPRPH1 saying hi to everyone, including myself, and dropping the membership emojis, the Canarble Wagon, the fedora, the logo, and of course, the brown mumbler.
And speaking of fedoras, isn't that a new one you're wearing?
This is a new fedora that I am wearing tonight. And this is the fedora I will be wearing going forward. It is specifically a trilby. Very similar to the one that I had been wearing, with a slightly longer front brim and a slightly smaller rear brim. It fits really well. I wanted to retire the previous fedora because it was my grandfather's and I was wearing it week after week after week. And I do what you should never do with a fedora, and I was grabbing it by the pinch notch here over and over and over again. And I was like, you know what? I think Grandpa's needs to be put away until I can get to a haberdasher to have it refreshed. And Netter ordered me this one. This one comes from the UK. I'll talk about it another night, but yeah, I got a new trilby. Welcome, Big L of Big L Presents. Hi from Films with Friends. Have a great show, my friends. Absolutely. Looking forward to hanging out with you over on Netter's channel tomorrow night for Ken coming to kill me. A fish called Wanda. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think I already said hi to JPRPH1, but in case I didn't, welcome, JPRPH1. And Sir Torin Clegane says, good evening. Welcome, my friend. Always good to see you. David Pensack says, hello, everyone. Welcome. Good evening to you. Last call with Trey Petroleum. Good evening to you, too, David. Welcome, welcome. Real Wade Nation Gaming Clips came to say hi. He is a wonderful supporter on the social medias, sharing out all the links and the streams. So I do the same for him. And please make sure you are subscribed to his channel, especially if you are into gaming. Let's see here. Don't want to miss nobody. Had to go to the can again. Don't want to miss nothing. Special no points if you know where that quote comes from. Mark Daly, haven't seen you in a while. Welcome, my friend. Always good to see you. Let's see. What did he say? Batman Returns better than the original? Cut him off. He's had too much. I will defend my my opinion in just a moment. Stick with me.
Now, did you see Mark Daly's comment? He had two Ashe Actually, am I mispronouncing that? Extra dries with dinner. Tragically underrated Japanese beer and very hard to find.
I will get to that. But yes. Daniel Barry, Sports Highlights. He says, hey, welcome, my friend. Always good to see you. Always good to see you. Looking good in that catsuit. Yes, she does. Speaking of which, she had a tendency to wear a black catsuit very often when we would go out to karaoke, jukebox Saturday night when we were dancing.
That's very nice.
When we were dating, absolutely. She has a very sexy bare back. Just saying. Just saying. Down, Big Al. Down. Salute to the Clue channel. Welcome, my friend. Also, channel member who I greatly appreciate. Most of y'all are channel members. I super appreciate every single one of you. Saying hi to each other, which is always great. So, yeah, let me highlight that.
I mispronounced
Asahi? I don't speak Japanese, so I don't know. Japanese beer. What was the Japanese beer that you bought me on?
Sapporo.
Sapporo. So
yeah. Sapporo is Japanese. Tsingtao is Chinese.
She bought me a Sapporo and sake. No, I'm sorry. I think that's pronounced sake. When my first birthday, when we were dating.
Your 21st birthday.
My 21st birthday, the first time I could drink legally. I'll be honest. I honestly did not drink until my 21st birthday. Well, no, I mean, you know, aside from like a sip of wine or whatever with a holiday or whatever, I did grow up Italian after all. But seriously, I didn't drink until my 21st birthday. And who bought me my first drink? That lady over there. So when she complains about how much I drink, remember, she bought me my first drink.
Well, you were 21 and I had to corrupt you.
Oh, she got me so ripped I couldn't go home that night. She corrupted me. I had to spend the night with her.
And then I had to marry him because
Then she had to marry me because. Seriously, folks. I mean, I was that innocent. She had to marry me. Yes.
Anyways,
move along, Troy. See, this is why he's the designated driver. Move along, you drunk bastard.
I'm just saying.
Let's see. What's Mark Daly saying? Nakuti quit. That black gay guy quit Doctor Who. I don't care.
To play the next Bond, he's joking. Yes. Anyway.
No, yeah. Well, hey, at least the next James Bond will be British, right? Even if he is a queer black guy. I don't know, guys.
I don't care if he's gay. I just care.
Well, look, if he's an actor and he's playing a straight guy, that's fine. I don't care what he is in real life.
No, my thing is...
Keep in mind, some of the greatest leading men in Hollywood history were gay.
True.
She doesn't want him playing Bond as gay. That's probably what she's saying.
No, yes. I don't care if he's gay.
Right.
What I care about is that they're shoving an agenda down our throats.
Right. Don't make the character gay because the actor happens to be. The actor needs to act.
Well, right? It's Amazon. They'll be doing something.
I mean, Rock Hudson was gay. The Brady Bunch was gay.
Hail to the chat, says Deleted C. Salute, my friend. Always good to see you. He says, please like, share, subscribe, become a member. He gets it. He gets it. Please do. I hope I have earned at least a subscription from you. If not, I hope I have. If I am really, really good tonight, I hope you become a member if you're not already. Remember, membership has its privileges. Monday night is members Monday night at the movies. This Monday will be, well, I don't know because it is a tie. You guys have voted on it, so I can't say yet. It's either going to be the 300 or Animal House, one of those two movies.
It's just another Members Monday.
Oh. Good one, Netter. This is why I married her. She's awesome. Yeah, so if you are a member, please, if you haven't already, get over there to the comment section and vote on what we're going to be watching this Monday, please. Jesse Guajardo is saying hello to everybody. I got paid today. Yes, Friday is the day that you get to take a break from work and you get paid. And if you're lucky, you get what rhymes with paid. I'm a married man, so if technically I probably could if I wanted to. Hail, Troy, Netter, Boomer, just getting home. High winds, roof shingles flying all over the place. Well, Curtis Selby, welcome, and I hope you have good homeowners insurance.
And are you like in Colorado? Because I have another friend in Colorado who was saying it was extremely windy, and they were.
I was hearing that there was a lot of wind across the country, so.
I don't think we really had any wind here.
Didn't realize this until someone pointed it out, but Jack Nicholson and Danny DeVito were in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Yes, there's actually a great meme about that, too, that shows a scene of the two of them in the same scene. Yeah, yes, memes are wonderful. I am probably going to miss a lot of comments because I am now at the point where I am kind of fast forwarding through to find people that I haven't said hi to yet, such as Nate of Geek Flag with Nate Knows 1973, celebrating 4 months as a member. I'm already a member. I'm already a member forever. Oh, forever. That is a commitment. Thank you, my friend.
Like Batman Forever.
Well, that's not what we're talking about tonight.
We're not. We may wait a little while before tackling, and if we ever do that, we're doing both. We're not doing just one feed stream for each of those. It's not happening. Don't get me started.
Mark Daly says 300 is one of his all-time faves. I am well into my Brown Mumbler, so I'm having a hard time remembering. But if you are a channel member, you get to vote on what movie is the members' movie for Monday night, and then you can watch along with us. And you can become a member for as little as,
I think yours is $1.99.
Like $1.99, $2.
$2.
Yeah. Less than the price of most super chats. You could become a monthly member, and you can join us for the Monday night watch parties. And I think that catches us up. I do want to point out that Connie Cleary is saying specifically hi to you, Aged Boomer.
Thank you, Connie Cleary.
And
always
that
happy
gets
to
us,
see you here.
And if I've missed a comment that you wanted me to highlight, please go ahead and drop that again. I just wanted to get through and make sure I said hi to everybody while I was sober enough to work the buttons, you know.
So here we are talking
and
about...
he says, Oklahoma, where the winds come sweeping down the plain. That could be a karaoke night. If you are a follower of Deleted Scenes and Outlaw Bill, who I haven't seen in the chat yet, but he is at least a temporary channel member. He was gifted a channel member by Ruby Hoove recently. They do weekend karaoke. So that could be a great one to sing on open mic night. Netter introduced me to karaoke when we were dating back in 1991, 92.
We met the end of 91. We dated through to August
mid 92. Well, we're still dating.
And then we got married, and that was August 3rd, 1992.
And it looks like Geek Flag. Oh, no, Geek Flag. Sorry. I was looking at his comment. CluuStudio said I did karaoke with them. It was fun. I have on occasion. But you guys, considering my branding is last call, which implies, going until like 2 a.m, which I don't really, depending on your time zone. I'm too old for those late nights. Speaking of old, Speaking of old, Pops, welcome, my friend, channel member, great supporter, great insights into streaming and media. If you are not subscribed to Pop's channel, make sure you absolutely are. It is. I am going to go out on a limb and say better channel than mine. Better channel than mine. If you're subscribed to me, you should be subscribed to Pops. Celebrating 8 months of membership. Hail, stay strong, talk hard. Love Batman. Yeah, he dropped a comment on last week's talking about what an important influence Batman was on a superhero film. And I think that would be a great pivot point and lead us into our conversation. Last week, we talked about Batman 89.
And I did rewatch it again last week, and it's funny because I should have rewatched before we did the stream last week, but I did rewatch it again. Very slick production. And my favorite scene, I have to say, is Jack Nicholson's Joker on top of the float with that Prince song playing in the background with the goofy balloons flying above. And he's just doing this. He's just doing these mannerisms to the crowd. And I know this sounds weird, but I'm sort of on the Joker's side, even though he's about to gas anybody because he's just so cool in that scene.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing about the Joker, at least in film, right? There is an element to what he does that you can agree with, right?
Yes.
The mass murder, kind of problematic, but the thought process behind what he's saying, there is a certain reasoned logic to it. There is a certain method to his madness.
It's funny. I think they played that up in Dark Knight when he has that weird scenario with the two people on the boats, right? You're going to have to blow up the other boat first or you're both going to die. You know, remember that? That was the scenario. Yeah.
And I feel like there was a bit of a cop out. They made the prisoners the rational ones. I get what they were saying. It's not entirely wrong because what is it that Batman says?
You still have someone in prison who wouldn't do something like that. You know, I think that was okay. And I think they both were rational at the end of the day, both sides.
Well, and I do think that I always default to that line from Men in Black, and somebody help me out with the exact quote, but the man is intelligent.
I'll tell you what the quote is. A person is smart, people are stupid.
Yes, exactly right.
Groups are yeah, but a person can be rational, but when they're in the crowd, that's when they're dumb. Yes.
And and mob mentality is no mentality at all, in my personal opinion, which I think definitely was coming through. But there is, and I will be honest, I will give some props to the writer of that film because he wrote one character with a certain morality. We don't know his whole backstory. And we're not saying all the villains or all the prisoners on that ship were moral people.
Just that one guy was the big dude
of clarity at that time.
Yeah.
And you never know. With what I've learned about our jurisprudence system, innocent people go to jail sometimes.
Yeah.
Actually, more often than we want to admit. So, yeah. I know you're trying to focus me on bring up the super chat. Remember, super chats, I reserve the right not to read them, but I know all of y'all are the type that I will trust you guys to read your chats. But even if you are here to troll, you want me to read your comment? Pay the toll to troll. Troy, Netter is your ex-girlfriend technically.
Because she's your wife now.
I dig what you're saying. If you're saying she can't be my girlfriend now that she's my wife, but I don't know. I play around with that. My wife is still my girlfriend. You know.
The Clue said because of Netter, he never went steady again. Well,
I'm as steady as you can get, right? Yes. I'm married. And so, without getting into my deepest, stuff, I've had situations come up where I could have strayed and didn't because I got the best, and I know I got the best.
You're like Paul Newman. Why do I go out for hamburger when I have prime rib at home? That sort of thing. That's what he commented on his wife, I think.
Who's
Paul Newman never cheated on his wife. I think that was the point.
I can't remember who.
Joanne. His wife was Joanne something.
He loved his wife. That's the point.
You guys know way more than I do. I was thinking, I can't remember who it was who sang the song, but I've been loved by the best, can't settle now for less. Why bother with the rest?
Joanne Woodward.
I've been to the top, I guess. Yeah, so, yeah. This is what a successful marriage looks like. When you realize how lucky you are.
Don Williams.
Pardon me?
Don Williams.
Don Williams.
Did the song.
I've been loved by the best. Don Williams also sang My Best Friend, right?
I have a question for you. You were a bit older than I was back in the day, after Batman came out.
Well, let's face it. I've been older than you all your life.
Okay. Did you have, maybe you were more into keeping up on news, because I hate to tell this, folks, we didn't really have.
I used to watch the McNeil-Lehrer report, so yes.
We didn't have news. We didn't have internet access, really. I mean, not the kind we have now back in 1992, and especially not in 89. Did you know anything about an upcoming Batman movie? I knew there would have to be one because the first one was such a huge success.
Here's the interesting thing. Yes. Okay, so we're kind of going back to last week's topic.
Yeah, but this is like follow-up, like what's going to happen next.
Fair.
And
that's fair.
Any idea.
Yeah, so this was pre-internet, 89, 92, right?
Yes,
so most of the information that I got about Batman 89 and the lead up to it, I think I mentioned this last week, was that I heard it at my local comic book shop. I used to shop at Valentine's comic book shop in Brookfield, Illinois. That's where I grew up. And Valentine was like, yeah, did you hear that Michael Keaton was cast as Batman? I'm like, wait a minute. No. You mean he was cast as the Joker? No, he was cast as Batman. Obviously, for the monologue tonight, I had to download a couple clips from Batman Returns. And I'm looking at Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne, and I'm like, yeah, I'm still not 100% convinced he was the best casting, but these movies came out pretty damn good. So
he's got the lips.
Well, he's got the lips. Yes, he's got the lips.
Yeah,
he's got the Batman lips.
As Siskel and Ebert, they think they cast Batman based on the actor's mouth. Okay.
David Pensack makes a great point. And David, I'm sorry, I always call you David Pensack, even though your screen name is D Pensack. If you want me to stop calling you David, let me know. I'm sorry. It just kind of slips out. This is why I always call Agent Boomer. Even behind the scenes, I call him Agent Boomer.
It's like,
he once said to me, you can call me. And I'm like, no, I can't. I can't Clark Kent Superman. I will not do that. So
I didn't like the Amazing Spider-Man movies all that much, but there's a funny scene in the second one where Gwen Stacy, like he says, I can't have you come after me or something because you're getting dangerous. So I think he puts webbing on Gwen Stacy's hand. She yells out, Peter, and then she puts her hand over her mouth like she yelled out the name Peter. It's like, no, I can't do that.
Yeah, I haven't seen those Andrew Garfield films yet.
There are some funny lines in them, especially in part 2.
No. I truly intend to watch them at some point, but I have not gotten around to that.
She's going to London. He says, I can go to London. Spider-Man can fight crime in London. I hear there's a Jack the Ripper guy. They never really caught him, so that's what he says.
Jack the Ripper was a vampire killer.
I know.
If
there's
anyone in the chat who knows what that references, go ahead and drop it in the chat. But David was saying Starlog magazine was one of the main sources of media back in the dark ages. Yes, before the internet, you went to Starlog for this kind of stuff.
Yeah, but
I've mentioned Starlog when we were talking about Dune, and a very steamy picture of Kyle MacLachlan and help me out, who played Chani? Sean Young. And it was an image that did not appear in the movie. Otherwise, the movie would have had a different rating.
Probably a cut scene.
That way. Yes, it was, and I was like, I gotta see this movie. I gotta see this movie.
Look at this.
Became a lifetime Sean Young fan.
Geek Flag with Nate No says, Boomer, did you know that Michael Keaton and Michelle Pfeiffer were dating during the filming of Batman and was close to getting the role of Vicky Vale before she landed Catwoman? I didn't know that. I did know of an infamous audition by the aforementioned actress Sean Young for Catwoman. You heard about this story,
which
right?
is a whole story in and of itself. Yeah, we were just talking about Sean Young. What I will say about Michelle Pfeiffer is, of course, obviously because of my opening monologue, I had to pull down some clips of the movie, and forgotten how sexy that voice was. I need to think about doing a rewatch of The Fabulous Baker Boys. If you have not seen that movie, we need to do a members rewatch of that some Monday night.
She is also in a movie called I think it's called Into the Night. It's her and Jeff Goldblum. And he's
kidding.
Yeah,
I haven't seen this movie.
It's really, I would recommend you check it out. It's interesting.
Please recommend it to me when I'm sober.
I'll tell you next time.
Yeah.
On Monday, on Sunday, I'll tell you about it. Yeah.
There you go. Fair enough.
But
Jesse says, Agent Boomer and Troy, when it comes to finding out either the magazine or the news entertainment section or Hollywood
Access. Here's the thing. For some reason, later on, my sister would subscribe or pick up Entertainment Weekly. But back then, Boomer had money for magazines. It was going to gaming magazines. It wasn't going to Hollywood magazines.
I like that, Mark Daly.
Anyway, just a spoonful of garlic. Annette Bening was going to be Catwoman until Warren Beatty knocked her up. She would have been good. I think a younger Annette Bening could have worked as Catwoman. She actually, it's funny, she has the dark hair, the short dark hair that Catwoman usually has.
What was the movie that Annette Bening was in?
Bugsy.
Oh, yeah, that one's good, too.
Yes.
Was she in Teachers?
I don't know. I know she was in The Grifters. She's been.
That's it, The Grifters.
She was in The Great Outdoors, too, oddly enough. That was like one of her first roles.
I was a huge fan of Annette Bening's two major talents. Just saying. Jack the Ripper Vampire Hunter, yes, exactly right. From, I'm forgetting the name of the comic book company. I have both issues of that. Good stuff. The artist that does those comics includes with the comics these playing cards with artwork from Jack the Ripper, and it's pretty cool stuff. Annette Bening was going to be Catwoman until Warren Beatty knocked her up. Yes, that's exactly right. God bless Warren Beatty,
Yeah. But, so...
Yeah, you know what, Mark Daly? The more I think about it, the more I think we need a Fabulous Baker Boys rewatch on a Members Monday. We need to do that. That's a great movie. That is a great movie. It had a huge impact on me when I was in high school. Troy, did you collect any magazines for the Batman movies? So there is one Batman magazine. I don't remember what it was called. Yes, I do have that one. You can see over my shoulder here, I have all of the comic book adaptations of the movies. And I've also picked up the Batman 89 comic, which is a comic book theoretic story adaptation of what would have been the third Batman movie had there been a Tim Burton third movie with
Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams as Two-Face.
Yeah.
And who was Robin? One of the Wayans brothers.
Probably one of Damon Wayans. I think they were considering him. Did you know that there was another script for the original Batman '89 that had Robin in it? There's scenes of him like
that was
Joker attacking
well, him. Honestly, I don't think Robin
it would have been too much. I think
movie.
Would have been too much for the first movie.
I feel like, look, and for all the Christopher Nolan Batman love, I really would have loved it if they would have done Batman as a film adaptation of Batman Year One, right, and then your second movie you bring in Robin. But damn it, you got to get Robin in there. I think so. We tend to talk about these movies in terms of writing, story, all those elements. I think we tend to forget marketing elements. We need Robin in the movies. We really do, so we can get action figures and lunchboxes and all that stuff, right?
You're going to yell at me in a minute. Dark Knight Rises, there is a character in that movie who I believe is supposed to be Tim Drake if he was never adopted by Bruce Wayne and just grew up through the orphanage system, and he becomes a cop.
That bullshit. No, that's all bullshit.
I know you don't like that, but in the movie he is helping out Batman, and then you realize then they said, "Oh, I had a nickname when I was good, Robin." I think it was Nolan trying to say, "Yeah, this was the Robin in this version of the story. He just wasn't wearing a costume." But I know, I get it. You don't like that. It's fine. Okay. Jorson Gordon-Levitt played him.
So let me try to read this. Let me try to read this. Netters reminds me when I was on Thursday Things before Halloween to tell my theory on Jack the Ripper and why he was never caught.
Interesting.
Dude, you could do a whole video about that. That would be some very interesting content. Pfeiffer was great in Tequila Sunrise.
I saw that a while ago. That was a good movie.
Mel Gibson and Kurt Russell. It's another Tequila Sunrise. You're absolutely right, though, Mark. That is a great movie, and I actually forgot about it. Thank you for bringing it up. I will have to rewatch that very soon.
See, kids, when we were growing up, there were these things called movie stars, and they would sell movies. And it's funny because I feel like Scarlett Johansson and Tom Cruise are two of the last movie stars, because he was even saying, "I don't do the social media nonsense. That's removing the mistake."
Help me out. Who is the pretty blonde girl with the big boobs that is really popular these days?
Sydney Sweeney?
Sydney Sweeney.
That's what I paid attention to.
Sydney Sweeney, I think, is also she is a Marilyn Monroe-esque sort of movie star.
There's a rumor going around that if Edgar Wright remakes Barbarella, that maybe he'll cast Sydney Sweeney in the lead. That would be interesting.
This is one remake I would love because...
no Jane Fonda, Sydney Sweeney.
No Jane Fonda, absolutely. Screw that bitch. And not even with your dick. Just saying. This may be an unpopular thing to say, but I've never liked the character of Robin.
A lot of people didn't back then.
I understand why, but here's the thing to understand about Robin, and this came out in the Tim Drake era. Why is Robin important? Think about what Batman is without Robin. There was a period in time where Tim Drake had,
Dick Grayson?
Dick Grayson.
Yes.
Quit being Robin and became
Nightwing.
He had been, as Robin, he was a member of the Teen Titans. He took a leadership role in the Teen Titans, and then he declared his independence and became Nightwing. And he left Batman. Batman on his own became the Punisher, basically. And it became very clear that Batman needed the grounding of Robin. And that's why a super fan of Batman named Tim Drake, who did his research, he figured out who Batman was, who Robin was.
Is that Jason Todd or is that Tim Drake?
It was Tim Drake.
Okay,
and Tim Drake shows up at Titan Towers. because he wants to speak to Dick Grayson, and he says, "Look, you've got to go back to being Robin because Batman has become violent. He has become unhinged. He needs a Robin." And Dick looks into it, and he's like, "You're right, but I can't go backwards. Maybe you need to become the new Robin."
Yes.
And that was the introduction of Tim Drake as Robin. I love that storyline. That's one of the few. There's a couple. Well, I was reading Teen Titans during that period. That was the only time when I bought some Batman comics. Yeah, I like that idea that the responsibility of Robin forces Batman to be way more grounded.
Joe's atmosphere.
Yeah, thank you, my friend. I was going to get to that.
I'm sorry.
Thank you so much. For $2, he says, Batman Returns kicks ass. You know why? No Robin. Well,
I want to remind the people in the chat.
This would have been a great place to introduce Robin, but as we get into the presentation that I almost said deleted. that Age of Boomer has put together, we'll get to why it would have been a problem to introduce Robin at this point. Okay. Again, please, everybody, subscribe to Joe's Atmosphere. He is a huge supporter of the channel. He is a huge presence on social media. Check out his channel. Definitely worth it.
Now, I want to bring something up. People forget that Robin shows up in the comics very early. I think within the first year of the comics, correct?
Yes.
He's in the first Joker story.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's not like he hasn't always been part of the Batman lore, even from almost the beginning. I mean, so... And a lot of kids these days do like Robin, and they haven't really done much with him. Troy, there's an episode of the animated series where Robin went after his parents' murder, and he almost ends the guy, but Batman told him he needs to be stronger than this. I don't want to spoil this for you when you watch the series, but it's a brilliant scene.
This is a recurring scene, recurring theme, for Batman. He is constantly saying this to all of the Batman fans.
Yes.
Reminding them that murder, guns, all of the affectations of the bad guys diminishes them as heroes because they're above that, right?
Yes.
If you are opposed to those things, you don't use those as tools.
That's part of it, but I remember the line, at least from the animated series, that's what he's talking about. This is what happens. He says, "You thought I was going to kill, what is it, Tony Zuko, the one who killed my parents. That's why you kept me out of this case. You were afraid I'd kill him." And he said, "I was afraid he'd kill you." And he said, "Zuko's already taken so much from you, your family. I couldn't live with myself if he also took you out as well." And that's what he said to him.
And this was the important point.
Yeah.
If he took out Zuko, it would also end him as a hero.
He was trying to look out for Robin that whole episode. Dick Grayson, that episode.
And Curtis Selby brings up death in the family. The death of... Was it the death of Tim Drake? Yeah, I got that one. That's one of the few Batman that I actually have. Absolutely.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, I'm bringing up everything because I'm pretty looped. So yeah, I can't read it unless I bring it up. Animated series is still my favorite Batman adaptation. Mask of the Phantasm, still my all-time favorite Bat film.
And we may talk about Mask of the Phantasm on Good Old Days this Sunday. I'm thinking we'll do that. Because I want to
tell me about the good old
Well, it's in relation to another Warner Brothers thing they're doing lately, where they're doing another animated movie in theaters that people might want to see, but they're giving it no attention, just like they did with Mask of the Phantasm. Anyway, though, Batman
I'm with you.
Returns, though. You knew.
Yeah,
you
no,
the
look,
comic
we
book
are.
guy.
How far into the stream are we? And we haven't even gotten into.
What did the
main
comic book guy
presentation.
tell you? The guy from The Simpsons, okay? What
Yeah,
did he
go
say
for
about
it.
Batman Returns? What did he know about it? Did he say it was going to have Catwoman in it? Did he tell you? Do you remember?
I don't.
Okay, then let's move on to. I remember when the trailers first premiered in the theater. I remember I was watching the trailer.
I got to be honest with you. This I felt was the weakest promotion of a film I've ever seen. This is dumb. It's kind of dumb.
Anyway, moving on to. Let's go to the main poster
Did
now.
I just kind of so? This, on the other hand,
better
was like, holy crap! Right? It's
all
the
that
bat symbol, but frosted and ice.
Snow, and it's kind of weird because I would almost think that'd be Mr. Freeze, right? But no, that's Mr. Freeze.
True, but when you think about the opening of this movie, it fits so perfectly. This was brilliant, yeah. And look, for all the argument with Big Al Presents about whether or not Die Hard is a Christmas film, Batman is absolutely a Christmas film.
D. Pensek was asking if we think that Batman Returns suffers from being shot all on a soundstage. I want to say no.
No, not at all, because I feel like the fantasy element of what Batman under
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton, thank you.
Yes, director Tim Burton.
It was so fictional, so gothic. He needed to artificially create it. I look, I'm a Chicago native, and I love the Christopher Nolan Batman, but I'm sorry, I don't care for Chicago filling in for Gotham City. I don't. I like, if there's going to be a Gotham City, I like Tim Burton's Gotham City.
To be fair, growing up, my dad always told me Metropolis is supposed to be New York and Gotham is supposed to be Chicago, but I don't know if that came from a comic book somewhere.
Well, I heard an interesting, and somebody helped me out. I don't know where this came from, but I heard that Gotham is New York by night, and Metropolis is New York by day.
That's another good analog, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at this poster. Getting warmer.
I will say this. The idea of having two villains bothers me. Only because it sets a trend with the future Schumacher films, where they add a character, and you eventually get to a point where none of the characters get enough screen time and development, right? But let's be honest, Catwoman isn't the villain, right? Shrek and the Penguin are. And okay, so as I was preparing the monologue for tonight and looking at the clips, I realized there are some scenes in Batman Returns that are just friggin' brilliant. The relationship between Bruce and Selena is developed so well. Okay, so Superman has Lois, right? Batman has Selena Kyle. And this movie establishes that. This is like, screw that Vicky Vale bitch. We're on Selena Kyle, and
I liked Vicky Vale.
I did too. Don't get me wrong.
She was probably better for Bruce.
Well,
we'll get into it as the movie goes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Here we go. So the movie begins with Paul Rubens playing.
Oh my gosh, Paul Rubens playing the Penguin's father,
Senior Cobblepot. Yes, and his wife.
Very much ingrained with the what's his name? Tim Burton.
Tim Burton, yeah.
Yeah.
And basically, his wife gives birth to a kind of a monstrosity, and I guess then they decide
he had
to,
some birth defects. Yes.
yeah, they decide
So
to send him down the
unfortunately,
river.
because
Yes.
they were so offended by the fact that he had
flippers.
What is it? Pterodactyly is that what they call it? Where the fingers are fused and so
They're
forth.
fused together. Yes.
I want to know what Mrs. Cowell-Pot was cheating on her husband with.
Right. Maybe she was
Hey.
She was going down to the Gotham Zoo and visiting the penguin enclosure. I don't know.
Anyway, so they put the baby in a carriage, kind of almost like a reverse Moses thing, just to get rid of him, right?
Yes, there are definitely Moses elements there, right? Yeah.
There's absolutely a funny scene in the beginning where he's in a small cage and a cat goes by it, and then he grabs the cat by the tail, and you hear the screaming of the cat inside,
yeah,
which I almost think now is maybe a foreshadowing of the whole Catwoman thing later on. But
no, there's no doubt that was intentional and very, very funny. Yes.
So anyway, they throw the carriage.
I do have to say this. I do feel like the Penguin before this movie and the Penguin after this movie, whatever. This is my preferred Penguin.
They're different versions of the Penguin because, for instance,
I would say this is the closest to the Burgess Meredith Penguin of the original Batman. Just gonna
Batman
say
66.
Batman 66.
So it's interesting on Batman the Animated Series. The Penguin sort of maintains some similar features to this one, like the fused together fingers, and the long nose and whatnot. But but he acts, I think, more like the one from the comics. Paul Williams did his voice. For instance, he's not insane on Batman the Animated Series. Whenever he would get captured by Batman, he'd be put in Stonegate Penitentiary, not Arkham Asylum. But yeah. I do love this interpretation of the Penguin. I do think it's great. And Danny Elfman is back, yes, as the score. And
I do have to say, too, I had a certain affinity for Penguin's mom drinking a martini.
Martini with an olive?
Absolutely. So I have a certain affinity for that character for that reason, yes. Let me tell you, this guy, Max Schreck, he chews the scenery and he is, look, let me say this right now. I do feel like Batman Returns should have been split into two movies. I do feel there were too many characters. I think that Penguin and Catwoman should have gotten separate movies, but Max Schreck needed to be in both of them.
Max Schreck, played by Christopher Walken, who, in my opinion, is like on the animated series, you had like Roland Daggett, who helps, right. Who's another corrupt corporate guy. You would have these white collar criminals in Batman. You'd have the gangsters. You also have these white collar criminals like Max Schreck here. He's brilliant. Christopher Walken does that wonderful speech when he says, "Santa Claus, afraid not. I'm just some poor schmo that got lucky. And sue
which
me
works so back." Well. That works so well with Selena Kyle at the end of the film when she refers to him as Anti-Claus.
Yes,
I love that. That works perfectly. This is another example of why I think this movie is so much better than the previous movie.
Dialogue is brilliant.
I do think it should have been split in two. The interaction between Batman and Catwoman was spot on, brilliant. It established her as the very dark analog to Lois Lane. Lois Lane to Superman, Selena Kyle to Batman. Just putting it out there.
Is this the first movie with a walk? They used to call them Walkenisms. I know True Romance had one too, and I don't know if True Romance predates this one or not. But where Walken gives these weird little anecdote speeches, like "Catch me if you can," like two mice fall into a bucket of cream. One gives up and drowns, and the other keeps
Yep.
You know, right? He give these speeches in these movies.
It makes me wonder if there wasn't a little bit of improv on his side.
Oh, I'm sure.
Tim Burton was
yes.
like, "Yeah, go with it. Go with it."
Well, in the scene, he had to do improv because Selena Kyle forgot to give him a speech, and he's like, "Remember to take it on what's the name?" Now, of course, he's up to shenanigans. He wants to build a new power plant in Gotham City. He doesn't want to go through the usual channels, and the mayor's like, "What are you doing? We have enough power to, power the city and halfway into the next century." And he's like, and of course we find out that there's a sinister plan behind him wanting to build the
big storyline. Big storyline here is him trying to kill Selena Kyle. Selena figures out she's on his side, right? Because she's employed by him.
Yes.
But she finds out something she isn't supposed to know. So he's like, well, it's a shame you got to die. And he pushes her out a window. This leads to her becoming Catwoman. When she comes back and shows up for work the next friggin' day, when she's supposed to be dead, he's like, uh-oh.
You went. Is this the ski accident you had? That's why you had to cut your vacation short. And then she goes,
"You're right, right."
Then she says, "It's all a blur." I don't remember what happened.
Blur. And she plays dumb because she is totally planning to.
And I think he's not sure, but he's like, whatever, I have other things to worry about right now. Right. But what was funny about
that... But the reality is, she fully intends to blow his brains out. She's got a little Derringer that she wants to shoot him with.
You're getting ahead of yourself.
Yes, I am. But if Bruce hadn't, found out and talked her down, she would have done it. But eventually, the denouement of the film, she seems like she's prepared to sacrifice herself to take him out too. Yes. She doesn't, but anyway.
But he's like the Gotham City bigwig next. I mean,
he's very much a Lex Luthor type. Yeah.
And like I said, in Batman the animated series, they would have these corporate types. Here we have the lighting of the tree ceremony.
This is a brilliant combination of Chicago and nightmare Gothic, city. It's brilliant.
This is just, let's move on. All the big statues, which I think Nolan took that in a different direction. And what pops out of a big present that shows up, and like, I know the mayor's like, "Is that your idea? It wasn't mine." And then suddenly out of the Christmas box pops all of these circus freaks, and I love it because I know Christmas is like, oh, you can't mess with Christmas. You can't. It's the best time of year, happiest time of year. But at the same time, when you're a monster and shunned by society, it's not the happiest time of year.
You want to corrupt the greatest time of year, right? And of course, the whole idea of killing clowns, killing circus folk, that speaks to a lot of very deep-seated fears for a lot of people. So, yeah, I get that.
As a kid, I guess as a teen at this point, I love this movie because when I was a child, I was always fascinated by the old circuses. Yes. Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey.
I went as a kid. I went to the Ringling Brothers, Barnum Bailey Circus. They used to go around and they would select children to be in the little parade that they did. I was in one of those.
Oh, that's cool. I did go to one of the showings. I was lucky enough that my parents took me to one of the showings in New York when they had it. And because they would come to like Madison Square Garden. And I kind of missed the tradition of the American circus. I think it's fallen off because of a number of reasons. But back in the day, this was a big part of American culture. And everything to do with the circus, the way the clowns looked, and not just the clowns, all the acts, they all had unique looks to them. You have an organ grinder in this who has a machine gun. When he cranks the organ, a machine gun pops out. You have a poodle lady.
If I can I don't know if you have a slide for this, but there's this great scene, and I kind of pull a soundbite from my monologue where Batman goes to save Selena Kyle from one of the
circus I have that. Hold on.
People. And I don't even remember that scene, to be honest with you.
Okay, well, first Batman.
This was a great treatment to the whole bat signal thing. I love this.
And then
this
it
was kind of
shows
brilliant.
on him. It's one of the best scenes in the movie. It's just him sitting quiet. He's like contemplating, and then suddenly he sees the bat symbol, and he stands up, and he knows he's got to get to the city. But let me go to that. Hold on, there he is, full on. It's snow.
This is the scene.
This is what you're talking about. Yes.
And this is the scene that you also referenced last week when you were talking about the video game.
I'm going to get to that later too. Yes.
Because what happens is, he's like, I don't remember exactly what he said. Like, if you come at me, I'll kill her.
He's got a taser in front of her face. He's gonna electrocute her face.
Yeah. And he's got and Batman just reaches down. His bat harpoon gun pops out. He takes and shoots at him, misses him, and hits the wall behind him.
And
the clown starts laughing. He's like, "You missed me." And all of a sudden, he pulls a big portion of the rock of the wall into the back of this guy's head and knocks him out. That's how he saves Selena Kyle. It's brilliant.
I love it when Batman does stuff like that. I remember there was a scene on Batman the Animated Series where the Joker's in this like garbage scow and he's looking up through the sky with a periscope, and then Batman's standing right in front of him in the periscope. And then the next thing Batman does is he punches the periscope and then knocks the Joker on his butt underneath. It was the funniest thing. It's one of those things. I had the SNES game loved. We're going to talk about that later, Clue. Don't worry. I'm going to get into that. But
and going back to the previous point, Nate says me, my wife, and son got a chance to go to the very last Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus.
I heard they did some great final performances. I do miss them, but I wish the performers best. They really were a big part of American culture. I love this devil flamethrower guy, and like he's setting some guy on fire in the store because they're just attacking all these nice.
You almost feel like there was a whole backstory for all these characters.
Oh, sure.
And they could have been separate Batman villains in their own right.
In a way, I think they're the Red Triangle Circus Gang. I believe that there was probably a circus and it went under. So what are these people going to do? They can't do performances. Right. Let's turn to crime and start robbing places. I think that's going to be more detail. I think they show up in that book you're about to read. They actually do.
I suspect you're right. Yeah, I'm looking into
So I'm kind of curious about them. But look at this. You got the flamethrower guy.
Yep.
You have these guys with the skull heads. I think these are like Daredevil bike riders. You know, when you go to circuses and you have the Daredevil motorcyclists,
and then they do the they have the big metal sphere that they do, and then there's multiple ones, and they never run into each other. It's pretty impressive stuff. Yeah.
But I do love this movie. This is another way of Tim Burton. He does this A Night Before Christmas where something awful invades Christmas, but I kind of like it because I love circuses, so it's kind of funny to see all these clowns like attacking some guy at historic Christmas time, and of course the mayor.
Notice that there are some very important subtle differences between the costume of Batman in the first movie and the second. So first, you have the bat symbol. There was, I don't know what it was that caused them to do this really weird tail on the bat symbol in the original movie. They changed it to the more traditional Batman symbol in Batman Returns, and instead of that very Romanesque kind of armor on his chest and stomach that mimicked, the anatomy of a, ripped, six-pack type thing. He's got like very armor-looking armor. That's those are the two big differences between the two movies. That's how you can tell Batman from Batman Returns.
Yes, exactly.
Just with the bat nipples.
That doesn't come until Schumacher, and we're not even talking about
Batman and Robin. I think that's where it happened. Or maybe it was Batman Forever. I don't know. I definitely know it was Batman and Robin. Penguin basically did this whole thing so he could get an audience with Max Schreck saying, I want to find out who I am. Max Schreck needs someone to run for mayor, right? So now Max Schreck is thinking, well, maybe instead of me, because this guy might kill me if I don't help him, maybe we could work together and figure out a way for us to both get what we want. So and this is funny. This is him shaking the hands. Like, remember, he's like, what happened to your old partner, Fred? What's his name? And he's like, he's on extended vacation, I think. Oh, really? This is Fred's hand. You want to see any other body?
Yeah.
It's a wonderful scene.
he's got this great concept where if you live in the sewers, everything flushes through there.
Yeah.
And there are no secrets. And he has put together documents. He has found,
shredded documents,
evidence.
tape them together. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like,
toxic
it's amazing
sludge,
what you can do with enough time and motivation. Yeah.
The dialogue in this movie is brilliant. I love the first scene where we're introduced, where we finally see the Penguin face to face, and Max Schreck sees him, and he goes, "I believe the word you're looking for is ah."
Yes, exactly. Real quick, Teddy Belcher, 4K ultra wide 21:9 says, "Jingle bells, Batman smells Robin laid an egg. Batmobile lost its wheel and Joker got away." Batman, of course, responds, "I do not smell."
It'd be funny if someone had sung this in this movie. Maybe it was a missing scene.
It feels
they wouldn't have Robin in the song. You're right. They wouldn't have it because Robin. There's Max Schreck. This is the scene where he pushes poor Selina out the window. Remember, she says, well, you can't just kill me. It's not like you can just kill me. Well, actually, it's a lot like that. And then he pretends like, oh, it's a joke, right? And she goes, I really thought you were going to. Then he pushes her out.
Yeah.
Oh, I had this one on VHS.
Which very much parallels the scene where later on, he pulls a gun on Selina. Yep. And she's like, you killed me. Batman killed me. Penguin killed me. The way I see it, I have 6 lives left. And he goes, okay. Bang, bang. She's like, 4, 5, still alive, and there's that whole bit till the point he goes, click, click. And he's like, the hell is going on here?
She's like, I think I'll save one for Christmas.
Because she has 2 left, but she's willing to take one out to take him out. Yeah.
So this is after she comes home from following all those stories, and somehow she survives because I think a bunch of awnings break her fall, but she still gets knocked pretty hard on the head.
There is also the implication that there's something supernatural in the cats that come to her and start licking her wounds. Yeah.
And then she sort of
wakes up. It's not clear. It's not obvious, but it is implied that she might be a metahuman who actually did receive 9 lives. That is her superpower.
Oh, Jessica Carter says, wait, how did Batman kill her? Well, when she shoves her, when they're having the flirting on the roof and she sort of puts one of her claws into his stomach, he then throws some, I guess, acid on her arm, and then she falls into a thing of kitty litter. That was her saying, that's one of my lives. That
she thought because she
he was doing that in defense, though, because she attacked him, because he was sort of into it.
There's no doubt he was into it. Yeah. Oh, that was the first. That was the scene that I clipped where it was. And this is again very, very good writing where he says something about the mistletoe. He says mistletoe is poisonous if you eat it. She responds,
a kiss is even
deadlier if you mean it. And that's when she then leans in and, licks him, right? Very over the top sexy, right? Well, later on, when they are Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle dancing at the ball, the lines reverse because
she looks up and says,
she says, "Oh, look, mistletoe. Mistletoe is deadly if you eat it." And Bruce starts to say, but a kiss is more deadly if you
eat it.
A kiss is deadlier if you mean it.
And then he's like,
yes,
oops. And she's like,
both figure it out.
Does this mean we have to go outside and start fighting? And that is great writing, right? Because it's the setup, it's the payoff, and it's the rationalization of realizing we're on opposite sides. But
what's interesting about this movie is Batman takes no joy in fighting either of these villains. There's a scene earlier on when, like, the Penguin is saying he's looking for his parents, and he's sitting next to this Penguin guy who wants to find his parents. He says, I hope he finds them. Because I think he genuinely feels some sympathy.
And this falls in with a line that Max Schreck has, where he says something like, if his parents hadn't tried to 86 him, you guys would have been in boarding school together.
Yeah.
And that, I believe, hits a note with Bruce.
Yeah.
Because he's like, yes, I can see that. I have definite sympathy. My history and his history are very similar. We just took divergent paths.
Batman always feels sympathy for orphans.
Yes.
This would show up on the animated series.
And honestly, this is something that has been missed in the comics. It has been missed in many of the movie adaptations, and Tim Burton got it square on.
Yes. But here we have, I find out my name is Oswald Cobblepot. Look at that.
Yep.
And he looks almost respectable. And you're almost, but things are going to go all right. Oh, look at that. There's Catwoman full regalia. Remember, she shows up to that woman, saves her, and then it's almost like you're always waiting for some Batman to come and save you.
Right, exactly. Very underhanded feminist commentary, but in the most brilliant and spot on way, not the woke way.
This is a brilliant costume, not a typical Catwoman costume. It almost has like, is this leather or it's some kind of?
So what she did was
she took one of her dresses.
After she survives the fall and she
goes
decides
nuts,
to become, she goes a little bit spotty. Yes, she takes a leather jacket, a leather coat, starts hacking it up to create this. So on the one hand, you've got the very insane stitching holding this thing together. On the other hand, you're like, damn, this girl's a genius. She invented this whole, pattern for this costume in her head.
And for the seamstresses of us,
yes,
I'm looking at it going, there's not enough material to make that outfit.
Well, that's true. But then look at this. Look at the mask, right? With the seams down the ear. She's got this triangle above her eye. She used literally every scrap of that coat to make this costume, and I think it works.
Compare what we see.
Suspend your disbelief when you see that little triangle of material above her eye.
Compare how we see her now to how we saw Selina Kyle at the beginning of the movie. You would not think these were the same person. That's how good an actress Michelle Pfeiffer is. What?
You're absolutely right. She starts out super mousy, way too intelligent for her own good. Let's face it, that's what leads to her getting.
Well, she was smart. Yeah, she was just not being utilized at the company. Yeah.
And then when she becomes Catwoman, look, I am going to say that this is probably the most realistic transformation I've ever seen. Why? Because she at this point has no fucks to give anymore. She does not care what anyone thinks of her. There is no reason for her to be mousy. She, again, gives no fucks. So she shows up for work. She acts sexy. She acts like she's the one in charge. And she is. She makes it very clear to both Bruce Wayne and to Max Schreck, you got nothing on me. Go fuck yourselves.
Look at him.
Yes, exactly.
I just like that expression.
Exactly. That actually is a great Batman response, as opposed to the next Batman movie where Batman smiles and it looks fucking creepy and weird.
All right, so here we go. We have I guess Penguin wants to run for mayor, and Selina Kyle and the Penguin decide to team up. And he wants
to teach her his flipper trick. Yes.
Yeah, there's this wonderful scene where she takes the burr, his pet bird, and puts it in her mouth.
Yeah.
And then he goes up to the kitty.
He's gonna kill the cat, so she lets it go. Yeah, it's brilliant. Brilliant. Although if I was Michelle Pfeiffer, I'm like, if this bird shits in my mouth, I'll kill you, Burton.
We haven't talked enough about Danny DeVito in this too. I think he's brilliant too. This might be his best performance. I mean, he's
he took this role and just ran with it.
I
do think there was a little bit of inspiration from Burgess Meredith back in Batman 66,
but he makes it his own
and ran with it.
He does the whole grunt, like the thing, like, and he says things like, "Oh, I'd like to fill her void with." Remember when the two people come up to him and they're like, "Not," when the guy says, "Not a lot of reflective sewers down in the sewers, are there?" And then they're all laughing, and he goes, "It could be worse. I could be gushing blood." And then they all laugh, and then the guy says, "I don't get it." And then he bites him on the nose.
He bites his nose, and he's gushing.
This is what you would get in a PG-13 movie back in the day. You get your money's worth. Oh man. This is one of the best parts. Well, first, is this the part in the Batmobile where the Penguin takes it over and?
Right. He has sent his guys to put remote controls into the Batmobile so that
after framing him for killing the Ice Princess.
Exactly.
Who was this ditzy?
Do you remember who played the Ice Princess?
Who played her? Now I want to know. Nice looking lady.
I'm actually forgetting myself. I remember there was something to that.
She had like the tan, which looked off because it was the middle of Christmas time. You know, it's just.
Let's see. The Ice Princess was played by.
I should have had a picture in here of her in here. Oh well.
Portrayed by. Oh, I'm sorry, Christy Conaway. I'm sorry. Okay. I thought it was somebody else, but very attractive blonde.
Oh, that picture is the Batboat. My mistake, Geek Flag. Okay, well that's the Batboat. Pretend it's a Batmobile. Anyway, the point is their plan is to make Batman look like the villain, and then they take over the Batmobile, and the Penguin's driving the Batmobile while Batman's driving it. Of course, Batman eventually figures it out and rips the thing right out of the dashboard, and then he punches the screen when the Penguin is screaming at him. And then he recorded all the horrible things the Penguin was saying about Gotham City, about how he's going to play this,
which was brilliant because that has a huge payoff later on. Great way to derail a political endeavor. Catch the politician on an open mic. Yeah, on a hot mic.
He was running for mayor, which didn't make a lot of sense to me. I guess they could do a recall in December.
Sure.
But it doesn't happen that often. I know they did it in California. I know with one of their gubernatorial elections.
So here is the great scene. This is after Selena has become Catwoman. This is after Batman and Catwoman have had their fight. But it's been very clear that Selena and Bruce are attracted to each other. They meet up at a party.
Max Schreck's party. Yes.
At Schreck's party, they're having some great banter. She's admitted that she's brought a Derringer and she's preparing to shoot him, and she explains her reasons why in a way that I think is absolutely brilliant because it really plays into why Batman does what he does. Now, Batman doesn't kill, despite what you can argue about bad writing in both of these movies, but it's very clear that he doesn't condone murder. Right? There are other ways to deal with this stuff.
He has a compassionate side in this. He still wants
the other element is if he's going to be killed, I don't want you to be the one killing him.
He actually wants to rescue Selena and take her, probably make her his wife. He actually wants to just,
Which is a great characterization of their relationship because it does harken back to the Adam West Batman, who always wanted to somehow redeem Catwoman.
Yes.
Regardless of who was playing Catwoman. Catwoman was someone that he felt was redeemable. She keeps thwarting his efforts, but he kept trying.
Let's see. Then here's the final scene because the Penguin's been abandoned. So he says, I decided, you didn't invite me, so I decided to crash, remember?
Yep.
And then he wants to kidnap Max Schreck's firstborn son because he wants to kill all the firstborn.
It was very much
another Exodus reference, I guess, like the basket at the beginning. Right?
Well, Exodus and the Gospels, right? Because the firstborn, and Jesus was the firstborn. So yeah,
that's right. Herod, yes.
Herod,
yes.
right? Exactly.
The order, and
history
so
doesn't
here we
repeat, but it rhymes.
But he what did he do? He basically says, but he says, no, come on, I'm your own. Whatever you may say about Max Schreck, and he has a lot of awful points, which is why I love him so much in the movie. He does care about his son.
Yep.
He will not sacrifice his son for himself. All right. So he
because he sees his son as an extension of himself. He realizes that whatever he does in life, he's going to die eventually. His son is his immortality, so to speak.
Yeah. So there we go. And here we have the big final fight because Batman stops the kids from being kidnapped. And we're going to have the final fight. The Penguin wants to send penguins out into Gotham City to blow it up. Batman foils that, sends them back to the abandoned zoo.
Yep.
It's always an abandoned zoo, an abandoned amusement park. It's always an abandoned something. World's Fair, that's another one I've seen. But
right, exactly.
People keep wondering how the Penguin dies in this. The Penguin wanted to march all the children into a pool of toxic sludge.
Right. So this is
he falls into this after he tries attacking Batman. I think Batman knocks him back and he falls into the sludge.
Yeah, people forget that he is the one who kind of outed the fact that there was illegal dumping of toxic sludge into the sewer system. So when the payoff for that is him being poisoned by it later on, people don't make that connection all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go. We'll get to that later when the criticisms come in, because we're not done yet after the movie. Let's kind of speak. Yeah. And here we go. Notice how her costume keeps getting worse as the movie goes on.
Right. So here's a great bit where Max Schreck, she pulls off her mask and he's like, Selena, my secretary is Catwoman. And then Bruce Wayne pulls off his mask and he's like, Bruce Wayne, why are you dressed as Batman? And she looks at him like, you are the biggest friggin' idiot in the world.
Yes.
She's because he is Batman, you moron. It's like, you knew I'm Catwoman. How do you not know he's Batman?
And then his next line is, you're wrong, and then he points the gun and shoots at Bruce Wayne.
Right, shoots,
so he goes
she
down.
Doesn't die. He
shoots at Bruce first, and the bullet hits him, but he has that. Yeah. It's that bat armor where he gets stunned.
That bat armor, exactly right.
So he can't do anything. He's incapacitated for
Did you notice her reaction? You shot Bruce. I love Bruce.
Yes.
And she steps up like she's going to try and, if not save him, at least avenge him. She was already planning to kill him anyway, but Michelle Pfeiffer's acting there conveys so much more than what is, clearly laid out in the script. It's kind of brilliant.
And then she grabs onto the electrical wire.
Right. So after
and kisses him, and then
let me see if I can get this right. She goes,
"It's weird.
Batman, Batman and Penguin all killed me." Right. So the way I see it, I have 6 lives left. So he goes, had, and then he shoots her, and it's 7. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4,
6, 7,
5,
all girls
still alive. 6, 7, all good girls go to heaven.
Yes.
He goes to shoot again, and click. Right? And she goes, well, I guess I'll save one for next Christmas. She's got 2 left. She's going to take 1.
And she pushes him into the electrical
thing. She grabs hold of the cathode and puts the stun gun between them.
Yeah.
And
he gets fried. He gets fried. Right? He gets fried. He's not in good.
When Batman gets there, she's completely gone, but he's like a fried husk.
Yeah. I think that the gun had 1 real bullet in it and the rest were blanks. That's what I think happened in that scene.
No, I think they were all real bullets. The fact is, I think people don't realize this, and it's because of Hollywood. When you get shot center mass, unless it goes through your heart, right, or a major artery, chances are you're not going to die. If you get to a hospital, you will probably survive. Most people survive most gunshots. They just do. But I'll tell you, in the movies, you get shot by a bullet. I don't care if it hits you in the hand, you suddenly die. Because that's just, you're dying.
And if you shoot at a car, the car blows up.
And the car blows up if it was shot in the 70s. Yes,
and if it's
that's
turned
absolutely
over.
True.
If it flips over,
exactly.
It blows up. According
exactly
to San Francisco Rush, the video game.
Which absolutely makes zero sense. But yeah, the bullet wounds she received, this is why I think it's, again, brilliant writing. You could argue that she could survive those wounds, but you could also argue that maybe there's some metahuman something going on where she's literally got 9 lives. And that would work too, however you look at it. That's up to your headcanon. It's entirely up to you.
So there is Michael Keaton at the end, Bruce Wayne, and he thinks he sees a Catwoman, then he sees a cat in the alley, and he brings in. There's this nice scene where Alfred says, well, be it as it may, Merry Christmas, Master Bruce. And he says, Merry Christmas, Alfred.
Right.
Because it's at Christmas time. And he says, goodwill toward men. And then he says, and women. Because.
And women. Yes. And of course, with the very last scene, you see just like it's a mirror of the end of the first movie where Batman is standing on the tower or whatever. And, you get the profile. This time it's Catwoman, and she sees it's very clear that Tim Burton is sending the message. Nope, she survived. Absolutely. Not explaining how, but she did. Yeah.
Because she's got one more life.
Because she's got one more life, because the bullet wounds weren't mortal wounds, however you choose to look at it.
She was wearing cat armor,
That's the other thing. We don't know the full composition of her costume. She may have put together that leather outfit to be put on the outside. She may have had it lined with Kevlar. You don't know.
Well, yeah, I don't know either. I'm still thinking it's blanks, but I know you argue it's not. Okay, but it's okay.
Well, I'm having a hard time kind of understanding why he would put blanks in his gun.
It wasn't him. He got it from the clown had it. And it was on the bottom of because the penguin.
I did.
Here's what happens. One of the penguin's henchmen, the clown, says, and he goes, "Penguin, kidnapping little children, isn't that a bit, And then the penguin shoots him, and he says, "No, it's a lot." Because basically, so that one of Penguin's gang, I'm a criminal and I'm robbing, but I don't want to hurt children. That was sort of the line.
Right.
He didn't.
So that would explain why the clown would have blanks.
But I think there must have been an actual bullet in it because Batman went. I don't know. You know what? We're overthinking this too much. And now for the aftermath. We have
got all of the movie adaptations here. Yeah, absolutely.
So this is the adaptation for Batman Returns. Perhaps this clears up some of our questions. I don't know. I didn't read it.
It's kind of an abridged version of the movie, so I don't remember there being any scenes in it that weren't in the movie. But it was a good adaptation. Yeah.
Okay. So, you got your comic book adaptation. They would do that. I'm sure there was a movie novelization as well. This is I believe this is the VHS tape that came out, which I did get for Christmas that year. This was my Christmas movie, and I watched it over and over again because I was a big fan of Batman Returns. So I'm the one who had Batman Returns in the family.
Yep.
It's funny. I think a couple of years later, I would get Night Before Christmas on VHS. And if you think about it, those two movies are sort of interesting pairings with one another. They're Tim Burton's weird.
By the way, one thing I did want to point out, pay very close attention to the skin tones in this, right? Batman's got very, naturalistic, white guy type of pallor to him.
Yes.
Whereas the Penguin and Catwoman are like white, right?
Yep.
Implying there's something supernatural about them, something undead about them. And if you'll notice this, again, of course, Selena Kyle starts out looking fairly normal. When she becomes Catwoman, at the very beginning, she still looks pretty natural with natural skin tones. As the movie each time she dies, she becomes more pale.
Yeah. Oh, Geek Flag with Nate. I didn't think about it that way, but you're right. Boomer, I got the first Batman VHS for Christmas. Interesting.
There you go.
They were big Christmas gifts. Getting a VHS tape was a big deal back in the day if you got that under the Christmas tree. It's not like now where movies are just sort of, just tossed on the streaming and nobody cares. In fact, you can currently catch these movies on Max if you get Max. They're all on
Tim
there.
Hayes, welcome. We're actually about to just get into marketing on Batman, which is going to include
everything.
Talk about the toys.
Let's
we go. So we had talked last week about how Toy Biz was the company that did the figures for the first Batman movie, and they were not the best.
No, they
on
weren't.
The one hand, they had great articulation. On the other hand, they had very low resolution. They were inspired by and in scale with the Kenner Superpowers figures, but not exactly the same. After Batman, going into Batman Returns, Kenner got the rights back. And so what did they do? They went and they made maximum use, if they could, of the molds that they already had for the Superpowers figure. That's why you'll notice that Penguin figure right there is literally just a repaint of the Penguin figure from the Superpowers collection.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can I call BS on this? Why can't we get a Danny DeVito Penguin?
I agree with you. I understand that. However, I feel that they made up for it with how well they did Batman. They redid Batman in a completely new sculpt, right? That lower left Batman there goes back and redoes Batman with crisp, clear detail. In scale with the Superpowers figures, but it's clearly the Batman figure with the armor and the boots and the gloves and all the detail, right?
I'll say that Robin figure looks really good. I will admit that. That
was very clearly a Robin based on the Tim Drake at the time.
It looks good.
I have that figure. I love that figure, even though they never introduced Robin in the movies. They did a Bruce Wayne figure. It's that middle figure. It looks just like Michael Keaton. Cool. With, you could put the cowl on him and the armor and everything. It was really very cool. And then you'll notice on the right-hand side, they have a Firebolt Batman. They had a Skyrocket Batman. They went friggin' whole hog. They reused the same mold over and over and over again and painted him differently. And they were all friggin' brilliant. They had an Arctic Batman. They had all different kinds of Batmans. They even had the Batman Returns Batman painted with the blue and gray scheme of the comic books. I have that figure as well.
Okay.
They are brilliant.
The other figures look okay. I'm not happy with that Penguin. That's bothering me.
I agree with you.
Let me see if I have anything else.
They cheaped out on one in favor of the other. Now, the Catwoman, also a great figure. 5 points of articulation, which was appropriate at the time. I felt a little bit oversized for the scale of figures that we were dealing with, but still a good figure.
It does look like it's based on the Catwoman we saw in Batman Returns. She's at least, or at least similar enough. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
She's got like a harpoon gun, I think, or something. I don't know.
Yes.
Were they kind of playing off her claws or something?
Every figure they did had to have a different. So the Superpowers figures all had play features, right? You'd squeeze their legs and their fists would punch, or if they were running or kicking figures, you'd squeeze their arms and their legs would kick. They had all this kind of stuff, right? Red Tornado, you'd squeeze his arms and his lower torso would spin like the tornado.
That's a figure I want to own. Okay.
Right. But Catwoman, but the Batman Returns figures, they did away with play features in favor of accessories, right? So what you may not notice there, yes, they had a like a gun that fired a torpedo and a hook or whatever, but what was way more important was they had like a latex rubber whip that you could put in her hand and she could do this with it. She did have a play feature, and it was actually pretty cool. If you lost the harpoon gun, if you lost the harpoon and the claw, that's fine. Nobody gives a crap. But if she has that whip, you're good. Yeah.
I don't know if I have any other pictures. Let me look.
So here, this is the.
What is that?
Is that the cereal?
Oh, that's the cereal. Never mind. I only have 2 pictures of the toys. Was there a Batmobile with these figures too that I think I didn't put up here?
So there are 2 Batmobiles, one for Batman and one for Batman Returns. They were similar in style because they were basically the same Batmobile. I'm trying to remember if one had a canopy and the other didn't.
There was a Wayne Manor. I saw it in the.
But both were double seaters. I kind of forget.
Okay. Well, that's neat.
You know what? I would point people towards Michael French over at Retro Blasting. He's done videos about these toys in greater depth. Maybe worth checking out.
Was there a Wayne Manor also?
There was 3 Wayne Manors, and I know that Michael French has videos specifically about that playset. They use that playset for Batman Returns, the animated series, and something else. There's 3 different versions of it that they did using basically the same molds.
So these toys were an improvement over
huge improvement. Okay. Yes.
All right. So, and I that Catwoman figure looks good. They look better. My only complaint was the Penguin. I felt they really should have made him look like the one from the movie. But other than that, I think it's fine.
Real quick, I want to say hi to Critical Drinker and Thinker. Welcome, my friend. Always good to see you. He's over on the X. He's yes. People forget that I am streaming not only on YouTube, not only on Age of Boomers channel, but I am also on X as well. And Critical Thinking and Drinking likes to support us on the X. Look, I want you guys to be able to follow me wherever you happen to be. As soon as I can figure it out, I'll figure out again how to stream to Rumble as well. I do not remember this cereal, however.
I remember the cereal. I think it sucked. It sucked.
I remember the cereal from the first movie.
I like that cereal.
I like that. It was the peanut butter type cereal
No.
It
was a sweet corn crunch.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah,
like the Mr.
It was the
T
same
cereal.
flavor as Mr. T.
It probably was the same cereal. Yes,
C-3PO cereal and Donkey Kong cereal. They're all the same formulation with different shapes.
I bet this was a reskin of the Addams Family cereal. That's what this is reminding me of.
I'm noticing that it looks like there's marshmallow bits.
Yeah, I don't care. I didn't like it. I like Lucky Charms, so I have nothing against marshmallows. I just this is not a good cereal.
I never liked those desiccated marshmallows, to be honest with you. I was never a big fan.
I liked them in Lucky Charms, but but now we have someone new, but now the Food and Drug Administration might be banning it because I'm sure there's stuff in that's not good for you.
Well, maybe not the desiccated marshmallows themselves, but maybe some of the dyes. Look,
I'm just joking.
I am a big believer of getting rid of dyes that are carcinogenic. I don't need everything to be special colors. It's the taste. The taste is what's important to me. I remember Catwoman digging her claws into the side of Batman the bat suit causing injury to Batman, making me wonder what parts are actually bulletproof, and when the beginning of Batman 89, when he took several shots. Well, so here's the thing, and this is I feel like the makers of these movies way overthinking it. So you have the costume in the first Batman movie.
She did dig it on his side, not in the front.
Wait a minute.
So,
wait a minute.
I'm just saying. Okay.
I'm getting to that. So the armor was kind of very all encompassing, but it was there were no joints to it, right? Yes. So he's very booze sponge. What is this? Oh, yes, yeah. It's Friday, so fish, right?
Yeah.
So Batman has this putty armor. It's very it looks like a Roman chess piece or whatever, kind of covers him almost completely, right? Whereas the Batman Returns is a breastplate over like this Kevlar suit. She finds the seam, and that's where she nails him. It's very clear they thought that through. It's like his armor was changed for mobility's sake, but she found the exploit because of that, you know? Apparently Tim Hayes did not like that series.
Christmas Tree Marshmallow sounds like something to make me puke. Yeah, basically, you're right. You're not wrong. And this is not a good cereal. I'm not going to try and sugarcoat it, even though this cereal was. Let's move on to what's up next. What little bag of tricks? Yes.
So, one thing I had wanted to mention last week is how Batman 89 pretty much set the tone for all superhero movies going forward. Batman is dark, it's broody, it's gothic. So now friggin' every superhero movie has to be that way to some degree, which is wrong. That is not what every superhero has a different mood, a different sense, right? The Dark Knight Detective and Superman, the God-powered Boy Scout are two very different characters with very different moods, right? If Gotham City is always dark, Metropolis is always bright.
Yes.
And they don't understand that dichotomy. And that's the curse of Batman 89. Batman Returns is the curse of marketing, and I think you were prepared to speak to that.
I have to respond to Clue Channel's comment. The Big Mac in that picture is half the size. The Big Macs now are half the size than the picture. You're not wrong. This is a big scandal like last year where some lady has a YouTube video, but she's looking at the Big Mac. It says, the pickles are thicker than the burger.
Yep.
They really have condensed it. And there was funny because in the documentary Super Size Me, Morgan Spurlock talks to a guy who ate a Big Mac every day of his life. And he said, have they changed the years? They've gotten smaller. He knew because he ate them every day. He knew. But this is back when McDonald's, I guess, was still a better bargain, I guess, than it is now. But look at this. Look at that cup. You know those cups with the Frisbee lids. You could keep it as a lid on the cup, or you could toss it around as a Frisbee, a little bat Frisbee. And they were different colors.
I have to admit, I was never interested in these plastic cups.
I had a couple of them.
I grew up in the 70s and 80s, so all of my fast food memorabilia was those glasses.
Well, you don't get the cut glasses till Batman Forever. Okay, that's when McDonald's gave us cut glasses. We're not, but here we are, a 49-cent upcharge, and you get these fancy cups. And I had a couple of them. I know I had the Penguin one. Yep. I think I had. Was it the Batman one? I can't even see this. Hold on, let me see. I think it was the Catwoman one. I had one of the. I had two of them. I don't remember what the other was. And look at this. For 49 cents extra, you get this lovely collector's item to take home with you. Don't repeatedly wash it, though. Be careful how you wash it, because these pictures will fade over time. And then,
I do want to
yes,
acknowledge this comment. Have you all seen the vid of the young boy saying Batman Returns was too dark, affecting the merch? I want to know what that dude thinks today, because wow. Yeah,
the
well,
Pattinson
so
Batman movie. Forget
this
it.
is what we're kind of getting into here, is that there was a huge dust up because these were there were a lot of adult themes, there was a lot of violence, there was a lot of dark elements
There's
to
a
it.
closer picture of him. Look at
And
that.
yet this was very much marketed to kids. These were
Well,
Happy Meals
there's the Happy Meal toys.
McDonald's.
Remember those?
And McDonald's took a lot of flack from pearl-clutching assholes who thought that this was inappropriate. These were the same idiots who said that D&D was satanic and blah, 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 and this and that. Look, there's enough satanic stuff out there for you to go after. You're going after all the wrong stuff, you dumbasses. This was one of those things, and they jumped all over Batman for this. And as a result, McDonald's would not do tie-ins to any of the subsequent Batman movies.
I want to say something. That Catwoman car, I didn't have that. I had the Penguin-mobile. Does anybody here who had the Catwoman car, did it have a tail in the back that would wag if you pulled it back and let it go?
That would be awesome.
Because there was an episode of Batman the Brave and the Bold where she's in a car very similar to this, and because they're doing a race with all the different characters. Otherwise, Steppenwolf's going to blow up the earth, right? And so they all have to do this race, and Catwoman's in a car, and I swear it has a tail on the back that wags as it drives off.
That was a that I did not see Brave and the Bold, but that is a reference to the New Adventures of Batman animated series where Catwoman had such a car. Yes.
Okay, because I was thinking that maybe they took it from the Happy Meal. Okay, never mind. Yeah,
which I also think appeared in the Golden Age comic books. I may be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure.
So let's get to an article. Hold on. If this will move.
Next slide, good. I'm glad you got something directly.
This is a headline from the article.
That young boy should see Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Yeah, exactly.
A not so happy meal: how McDonald's destroyed Batman Returns and cost Tim Burton his job. By Tom Chapman. I forget where I got this.
Kind of true, yes.
I got some quotes here. This is fascinating. Yeah, they replaced Burton with Schumacher. We may get into those.
Yeah, that's exactly what this article is implying.
I'll need some alcohol for that stream. I love this picture. Someone put this in the article. Look at that. That's a Heath Ledger
kind of
Joker.
Brilliant. That is kind of brilliant.
It's Ronald McDonald.
So the strong reaction to McDonald's teaming up with the Tim Burton Batman for the Happy Meals led to this backlash and them deciding, you know what, Tim Burton doesn't have the right idea. Let's go with Joel Schumacher. And unfortunately, Joel Schumacher took it in. So
we're going back to the 60s again.
I have very often talked about how Richard Donner set a brilliant precedent for superhero movies with Superman, with his motto of verisimilitude, where even though we're dealing with these ridiculous fantasy elements, a man that can fly, shoot laser beams out of his eyes and all this kind of stuff, it's still got to be grounded in character reality. You know, love, honor, purity, those kinds of things. Batman under Tim Burton was kind of the same idea, but more on the dark side, right? Because reflecting the Batman's, whereas Superman is uphold good, Batman seeks justice.
Yes.
So it's a little bit darker, but still grounded in some sort of verisimilitude, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, that's bad. We can't have that. So they went pendulum swing all the way back to 1966 with the farce of Batman, the exact opposite of verisimilitude, and that's how you end up with Joel Schumacher, and that's how you end up with the death of the franchise, literally.
Yeah, we'll get there someday. We'll maybe have to talk about those two movies. But critical drink and thinking. He was mentioning about the State Farm commercial, We're going to talk about that on Sunday. In fact, I'm going to make sure you have to watch that State Farm commercial before the, Jason Bateman. It says when you want a hero,
I haven't
call
seen
on
it yet.
Batman.
You sent me a link about that. I haven't
Yeah,
seen
you
it
need to
yet.
watch
Yeah.
it. It's a fun. I thought it was funny.
I will check it out. Yeah.
I argue.
I am not pulling it up on my stream though.
Yeah,
I know I'll get hit if I do that.
Yeah.
But in my own
We'll
time,
talk about
and
it
you
Sunday.
should do the same in your own time. Go check it out. Yeah, we'll talk about it on Sunday, of course, in Geeky Geezers.
So this is a quote Tim Burton had. I think I upset McDonald's. They asked, "What's that black stuff coming out of the penguin's mouth? We can't sell Happy Meals with that." Well, this is an artistic endeavor. I don't care if you sell your little burgers. That's what I would have said to him. And the black stuff coming out of Penguin's mouth, that's the toxic sludge at the end of the movie. He drowned it and it comes out of it.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Right. Yeah, okay. I can't help you if you're not smart enough to really understand that.
I think it was a weird reaction to Batman Returns because half the people thought it was lighter than the first one and half the people thought it was darker. I think the studio just thought it was too weird. They wanted to go with something more child or family friendly. In other words, they didn't want me to do another one.
Well, look, here's what I will say to that. Again, you've also got to look at what we've been talking about for all the time that we've been doing these streams, right? Looking back at Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Gremlins, Airplane, Jaws, all these movies that were PG, right? That led to the existence of PG-13. We used to have very dark, heavy, adult themes in what we considered to be kid-friendly films, right? We had no problem showing bare breasts in airplanes to, PG-aged kids, right?
Wait a minute.
That took me through puberty, my friends. Violence, Jaws, Temple of Doom pulling a heart out of somebody's chest. These were PG films.
Think about when this movie comes out, 1992. I think this is the beginning of the
snowflake.
Millennials.
And beginning of the snowflake, yes.
Well, I was going to say the helicopter parenting, where they were paying more attention to what their kids were watching. And they're saying, this isn't a nice Disney movie like Aladdin.
No, I'm going to push back a little bit on that because honestly, when I went to see Indiana Jones, when I went to see Airplane, my mother took me to the movie to see those movies. And her thought was, if it goes over his head, no harm, no foul. If he understands it and gets it, then no harm was done because he already knew. And that was reasonable logic, I feel, on my mother's part. Just saying.
Oh, wait. Were there any other quotes? I thought I had one of the quotes from an angry mother in here. There was an angry mother quote in here. Let me see if I missed it. I might have missed it. Oh, well. Oh, wait. Here we go. Violence-loving adults may enjoy
this film. But why on earth is McDonald's pushing an exploitative movie through the sales of the so-called Happy Meals? Has McDonald no conscience? Well, look. I'm going to say this. I remember when the first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire came out, and I had friends who would not take their kids to see it. They bought them the toys, they bought them the comic books, they bought them all the merch, and said, you cannot see that movie until you're older. Why? Mary Jane nipples. That's why. And I understood it. In fact, it was because of that I gave my entire collection of Spider-Man comics to a buddy's son. I said, you know what? Spend your time reading these comics, and by the time you're done reading these comics, you'll be old enough to see
Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Good call. People looking to McDonald's for morality. This was before Super Size Me, man. This was a pillar of American society, was McDonald's. Plus, the obesity rates weren't through the roof yet. Back when this came out.
Troy, this reminds me of what happened to Michael Crichton's first version of Jurassic Park book, but his editor or publisher kept telling him, this is a nice children's book, but I want a book for adults. Yeah, well, yeah, you got to choose your audience. Batman is, well, here's the other problem too. This was a transitional period for Batman. This was, we had our golden age Batman, who had no problem using a gun and shooting people. We had our silver age Batman, who had a strict rule against guns and no killing, right? We were going into the Bronze Era with the Elseworld comic of The Dark Knight Returns. That is what set the tone for these Batman movies. And that's what set the tone for all superhero movies going forward. And that kind of very much skewed what superhero movies were.
Right.
You should be taking your cues from Superman, not Batman. Just saying.
Let's move into the video games.
Genesis. Yeah. Tell me about this, because I know nothing about it.
Oh, look, it's just going to says, Troy, my Catholic school took us to see Spider-Man movie on a field trip. We saw MJ's nips. Okay.
I mean, I was old enough. This was what, the 90s? I was a married man, so I was like, wow.
Anyway, let's move on. I'm here to talk about games. This is Batman for the Sega Genesis. Now, the Batman license got split through Batman Returns license. Again, it got split up like the original Batman and Wii license. Sega had the rights to make Batman Returns games on its consoles. So we'll start with them first. So the Sega Genesis version of Batman Returns, first to come out, came out before Christmas of '92. So I borrowed it from a friend. And I have this to say about it. It's not very good.
There you go.
Interesting, a company called Malibu Interactive made it, which was actually an offshoot of Malibu Comics. They had a game division.
Oh, okay.
So why is Malibu Comics working on a Batman property? It's kind of weird. But anyway, that's an okay pick of the game. I didn't care for it. It doesn't have the Elfman music in it, but the music they use isn't very good either. I don't care if you can't get the soundtrack, but at least use it. And as I show you these Batman games, you're going to notice it has the same picture on all the versions, because for some reason Sega was only allowed to use this image for all of the games. It was some weird licensing deal with Warner Brothers. Maybe it's because they didn't bother paying for the likeness of the characters for the games to have them in the games, so they were limited. This is the Sega CD version. I heard this one is better. It actually comes with a racing mode in it. There's Batman, racing. See?
Right.
And you can, I'll show you, it actually took advantage of the Sega CD scalings. Now, you can play this game one of three ways. You can play it as the 2D action platformer that I showed you before with CD quality sound instead of the crappy chip tunes they had on it. It just wasn't good music. And the Genesis could do good music, but that game didn't have good music. Or you could play, but you could play either the 2D side-scrolling stages, or you could play this brand new racing game where you're playing on the Batmobile, shooting clowns, or you could play a game that combined both the side-scrolling levels and the racing levels into one game. So I heard this is actually pretty good. So if you have a Sega CD out there, which nobody does anymore, you could play this game. There was a version made for the Sega Master System. This only came out in Europe. I actually heard this was rather good. This was made by their Japanese team, and it's another 2D platformer.
I do real quick want to shout out Gorilla Censored Thoughts. It's very clear that you actually have your Klingon hole spelled correctly with all of the correct capitalization, but I'm having a really hard time. Well, my head's a little fuzzy right now, trying to translate it. I'm getting you dead, worn out. You're very dead.
We're past the midnight mark. We're dead at this point.
They They achieve a situation. Yeah, I'm getting the individual words. I'm having a hard time getting the full sentence there. So if you want to drop a translation, I'd love to see it.
Hold on, let me see if I got
you
it.
Definitely have correct words in there.
Okay. If I put in translate.com, Klingon to English, I get
that's not
your way to eat it. We must join this.
No. That's absolutely wrong. No. And I went to Hol Ampish, which is the Klingon language translator. It translates the individual words, but my head is too fuzzy to figure out the context. So
okay, and another translator says, "Your way to eat it. We must join this." It's. You guys were just talking about Burger King, weren't you? Have it your way.
I guess.
So that's
talking about McDonald's.
Oh, McDonald's. Okay. Yeah, I know
you had your break today.
Oh,
I'm loving it.
I did not have I did not have a break today. I was too busy.
Remember Big Mac tonight? The Crescent Moon dude playing the piano. Mac tonight, yeah.
I absolutely do.
So this is Batman Returns for the Sega Master System. We never got it here in the States, but it was people said this was a rather good Batman Returns game.
Is that a Christmas tree on the left side of the screen?
It is.
That's cool. That's brilliant.
This is Sega's 8-bit machine. Very popular in Europe. Didn't really take off in the United States or North America, I should say. Very popular in Brazil, the Sega Master System. This is what they had before the Sega Genesis came out. The Sega Game Gear, I originally wasn't going to include this one, but apparently it's not the exact same game as the Master System version. It's slightly different. But I know that the Sega that you can choose your paths in these games, like you can go one way or go another way, and
yeah,
I'd actually wish they would put this in a. I'd like to play this game, but whatever. I'd like to play one of these old 8-bit Batman Returns games. But now we move on to the Atari Lynx. Okay, do you know?
I
what the
remember
Atari Lynx
this.
is?
I did not have it, but I do know of it.
My brother did have it. He even had this game. This was Atari's portable system. Rather sophisticated for its time. It was full-on 16-bit. It didn't have the resolution, but it didn't matter because it was such a small screen. But it had 16-bit graphics, and I remember it lost the fight with the Game Boy though, because Nintendo understood that it's not graphics, it's battery life, which will make your console survive. Game Boy this thing would eat batteries because it was so powerful. It was backlit screen. Ahead of its time. Apparently, this was programmed by the Millipede champion. You know those arcade champion guys that get the high score. I think the guy that beat Millipede.
I think I've seen these graphics before.
It's not really that good. That's what I've heard.
No, it's not, but I recognize it.
I was impressed when my brother got it though, because I was a big Batman Returns fan, and of course I was the Nintendo owner in the family. So what am I going to do? But that's okay because I got the last laugh here. So let's move on. This is Batman Returns for the NES. I bought this many years later. I didn't get this at the time because, I'm spending my money on Super Nintendo games at this point. But this is a 2D. I love this. I love this intro screen. The time is coming when Batman must return.
Well, okay. I guess that's a good transition, right?
We do have the likeness of Michael Keaton, so they got the rights to use the actors in it. No elf music in this game, but the music's pretty good. It sounds like tracks they didn't use for a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. In fact, it plays kind of like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles beat 'em up style game. I'll show you. It's not bad. It's not as good as the first Batman game, but they're not trying to do the same thing. You get to punch clowns.
Well, that in and of itself is worth the price of admission, right?
But nothing beats this one.
That's actually pretty good. That is the ducky from
that's
Batman
the ducky.
Returns.
Yeah, okay. That's another boss you fight in the game. It's not bad. It's a good Konami NES game because Konami had the rights on Nintendo systems. Sega had the rights on Sega systems. Konami got the rights on Nintendo systems. And I guess Atari got the rights for the Lynx. They didn't bother making an arcade game this time around. I researched it. I tried finding. Did Atari make an arcade game for Batman Returns? In fact, it would have made sense to have one where you're in the Batmobile and you're driving around like in an actual anyway,
wow.
But they didn't do that. There's no Batman Returns arcade game.
Super Nintendo.
This is the big one. Super Star Wars came out a few months earlier, but I remember someone saying in the game store that this was the best movie to game adaptation they'd ever seen. This really felt like playing the movie back in the day. I bought this in May of '93. That's when it came out.
Cool.
I just want to show you this. Look at that.
Wow, that's graphics from the game?
Yes.
They literally digitized scenes from the movie.
They digitized scenes from the movie, and they got Clue Channel mentioned this. They got the Elfman music. It's a video game version of the whole Elfman score in this game. There's a cool scene where they do the intro for When the Penguin, and you hear the little penguin go rah, rah, like the kid whining in the penguin voice in the background, and they play that sad music, and they're explaining it's a brilliant game. And then when you start the game, you see the bat symbol, then Michael Keaton's character rises up in the screen here. Really cool. You also get vestiges of Danny DeVito in this game, Michelle Pfeiffer. No, Max Schreck is mentioned, but you don't see Christopher Walken's image in this game. I guess they didn't spring for that. But here we go. You get to beat up clowns. You get to hold two clowns together and bash their heads in. You're saying, Netter? Sorry?
No, I was laughing because I get to beat up clowns.
You get to go by the store windows, pick up a clown, and throw it into the store window, and the glass breaks, and like you damage the display. It's so cool. Very much follows the movie because Konami's big stipulation this time around is you're not doing anything funny with this Batman Returns game. You follow the plot of the movie. Konami took them literally seriously. This is the first level. Remember, who do you see on the right there? Remember the clown, and that's Selena Kyle?
Right, exactly.
People who do Let's Plays of this don't understand because you get the Batman grappling hook. You can use that as one of the buttons. If you shoot the grappling hook across and hit the wall, you can then pull it and hit the guy with the wall, like in the game, like in the movie. It's that attention to detail. And then he attacks you with the taser, and you have to beat him. And really cool cutscenes. I don't know if I ever digitized Michelle Pfeiffer in this yet, but they're the racing stages. You get some racing stages in this. There's some Batmobile stages in this game as well. Rather cool. Classic Konami game. Konami was kicking butt back in the 16-bit era. They were just bringing out banger after banger. And later on, they'd make a Batman animated series game too, which was rather cool. But this was the last of their Batman Returns game. Oh, there's Catwoman. See, I am Catwoman. Hear me roar. And you notice how now we don't have like a blue Batman on a black background. Now that they can do enough colors that they can sort of have Batman still stand out in the black outfit. It looks like he does in the movie, doesn't it?
Right.
I mean, it's a hand draw, but it was just neat. You should watch a Let's Play of it sometime. It's rather neat. Oh, there's the Ice Princess. And you fight the penguin in the stage, and after you beat him, he still flings the umbrella, and she gets knocked off the roof with the bats, like in the movie. It's neat, don't you think?
Yep.
I don't know. I'm just showing. Do I have any Catwoman scenes in this? Nope. Okay. Now we're getting into weird territory. Konami, apparently, I didn't know this until I did this research. Konami made other versions of Batman Returns. This is for DOS PC. Did you have this? Because I know you were Mr. PC gamer back in the day. They did a Batman Returns.
I did not, no.
It was a Batman Returns, and I believe it's done as a point-click adventure game. See, there's the Ice Princess again.
Yep.
And it's you actually go around town, and I think you're looking for clues and stuff.
So look at the menu bar at the bottom. That's the utility
belt. Yeah, yep. And use the utility belt for icons, and look, investigate here, and it's kind of neat, isn't it? I heard it's not bad. It's pretty par for the course. It's like a lot of other adventure games that came out during this time, like King's Quest and stuff. But it's pretty cool. Movie, and it actually had the Elfman score in it too, and I think it even had voice clips from the movie. Now the soundtrack was done with the DOS sound, so some people like that. Yeah. There's an Amiga version. There were and this is another unique version, and this was supposed to also come out on the Atari ST and the Commodore 64. They were originally planning a Commodore 64 Batman Returns game. The Commodore 64 and Atari ST versions got scrapped. All we were left with was the Amiga game. Apparently, this is one of these games where the poor programmer was doing like all-nighters and no support.
Yeah.
Actually,
welcome to the Cobblepot School of Driving.
I think that's from the DOS game. Sorry, because this is not the DOS game. This is the Amiga game, which is this. Okay, sorry. These are more pictures from the DOS game. That's the Batmobile you go into. See, the DOS game looks pretty cool.
Not
looks
bad.
Like
DOS actually there.
DOS
actually did a great job because they had more memory available to them. If you weren't loading up Windows, you could get away with a lot more.
Oh, you know what? Maybe the prior one. I'm sorry. My mistake. I did this out of order. Let me go back. This is the DOS game. The prior one was the side-scrolling action game. They did a side-scrolling action game on the Amiga, but this was the one that it just wasn't good. This actually is not the adventure game. This is the Amiga game is the sorry about that. I got confused. But see, it turned out poorly. I was watching some guy's review. Some guy was reviewing all the Batman Returns game. He said this was like the worst one. But yeah, the DOS game, it does look like one of those point-and-click adventure games. See, Danny DeVito, right?
Yep. Exactly.
Okay. So, Batcave, you get to do things in the Batcave. Apparently, there's no Alfred in this game, though. People said Batman's only friend is this guy that runs the I guess the sausage shop or something. You know?
So I'm guessing this must be a Six Flags type of thing here.
It is not a Six Flags ride. It's interesting you bring that up. Apparently, in Germany and Australia, there was a Warner Brothers themed theme park.
Okay.
Did you ever hear of this?
No. The only ones I knew about were the Six Flags ones, which were Warner Brothers owned.
I think they were trying to make it like more like a Universal Studios.
I dig it. Yeah.
This is the Batman ride. This is a replica of Wayne Manor that you walk into.
Wow.
And unfortunately, it's done like, you know how like the Back to the Future ride was done with real footage and
sure.
You know what I mean? They did this, except it's the part in the movie I think where you're in the Batmobile and things are going nuts and the Penguin is doing this, and they actually shot it on the actual set of Batman Returns.
Wow.
They came in, and when they weren't filming the movie, they got their own actors in there, their own Batman in there, and they shot this thing. And I can't do it justice because I can't find good still shots, but there is some leftover recorded video footage, and it looks amazing. And what it does is it gives you like a street eye view of the chaos that was going on in Batman Returns.
Nice.
And it was this really cool ride, but you could only see it if you went to Australia or Germany. The clips I saw were from the German version, so I don't know if it's Bruce Wayne or Alfred. It's some guy with glasses and he's speaking German, you know. But it's I don't know if you're stuck in Gotham City. Like the guy yelling over the loudspeaker what's happening on screen he's speaking German. But there's a scene where Catwoman knocks one of the bazooka clowns over. Oh, Catwoman, and he's saying it in a German accent. But
yeah.
I'm sure this is an amazing ride. I wish they would have preserved this on one of the Blu-rays.
I'll bet there's video out there somewhere. Because
I assume the Australian,
the T2 3D ride, the video is out there, and definitely worth checking out.
Preserved that on one of the DVDs. That's why it's out there. Because I know Universal preserved the Back to the Future ride on the DVD as well.
Yep.
All that extra stuff. But unfortunately, not all companies do that. And I guess Warner Brothers didn't bother preserving this. They got rid of this later on and made it into a CG Batman ride. I can't speak to the quality of that.
Oh, okay.
But this is very much Batman Returns, and they were using the sets and the models from the movie, and it looks brilliant. But unfortunately, I never got to ride it. But yeah. And I think that's it for the Batman Returns merchandising. Did I miss anything?
No, I don't think so. Obviously, I was focused more on the toys. But the toys definitely improved when Hasbro Kenner took over again. But some great stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah. But the games were just weird. I do want to try out that Adventure DOS game. That didn't look bad. I just
wow. And once again, great work on the what do you call the slides, man.
I went a bit nuts with this. I
definitely did. Like 76, 77 slides. That's amazing.
Batman Returns is just a rabbit hole of all the merchandise that went around it. And it's funny because I think at the time it got derided. But there was so much merchandise around it. And then I kept defending the movie and people weren't getting it, but I soon turned my attention to Batman the Animated Series because that aired that fall, and I kind of moved into that.
Yep.
But
that was kind of the way to keep that iteration of Batman alive, because Schumacher sure didn't. We'll talk about that some other time, I think.
Oh, boy. Don't get me started on Batman Forever.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't bring up the soundtrack to Batman Returns. They didn't do a soundtrack album this time around, did they? It was just the score.
I
didn't
have it. If they did have one, I don't know.
Batman Forever had a soundtrack album because they really pushed that one. But that was more like a compilation by different artists. I think U2 did a song, Seal did another song, but we'll get to that another time.
Yeah.
You don't think you'll win, do you? You want to get nuts, you go nuts. These Tim Burton Batman movies had great dialogue.
They definitely did.
It's funny because we look at the effects, we look at the costuming, we look at this, but it really is, I think, the dialogue that carries these movies.
Well, the dialogue, and especially in the second movie, the character development. I think you need to go back and rewatch Batman Returns and pay very close attention to the characterization. Bruce, Selena, even Max Schreck. None of the characters are throwaway characters. Even your damn Ice Princess there has a purpose in the story, and there is implied that there is more story to those characters than what you see in the brief moments they're on screen.
But oh well. You can tell I spent a lot of time in the games. We'll leave it with this clip, actually. The Michael Keaton. I like that.
Absolutely.
And they really did take that from the movie. Konami really cared about this game. And, to be fair, they got their $60 plus tax for me, $59.99 plus tax when I bought it with my allowance money. I said, I love Konami games. I love Batman Returns. This is a win. I didn't even need to see a review first. I'm buying this game on site as soon as I see it. And I was not disappointed.
There you go.
They need to put these in a collection.
And I would encourage everybody, make sure you get out there, check out Batman 89, Batman Returns. You can check out the Joel Schumacher films if you're so inclined. You can either think of them as continuations, or you can think of them as Batman films that exist within the world of the Tim Burton Batman. It's entirely up to you. But I think I missed something, because I see somebody saying hi to Maria with Tea and Telly, and I'm not seeing her comment in the chat. But hail, Maria with Tea and Telly. I hope you are doing well. I know you're traveling this weekend. I hope you are.
She's at Mama's now.
Oh, she's there now? I hope you have fun. I hope you're safe. And good to see you. But that is Batman.
Tim Burton Batman.
Tim Burton specifically.
We're done. Yeah.
He definitely had, just as Richard Donner had an impact on the whole story of Superman. It even affected the comic book character. Same thing with Tim Burton's Batman. He changed the trajectory of Batman even in the comics. But so there we go. That wraps it up. Next week we may just do a freeform thing. We'll be looking to you guys, because Boomer's got a tight schedule this week, and we can't prepare for the topics we want to talk about with the intensity we would like to. So
Doctor Who is coming, though.
In 2 weeks, we'll be looking at Doctor Who. Next week, we'll figure it out. But tomorrow night, make sure you get over to Netters Network for a rewatch of
A Fish Called Wanda.
9 Central, 10 Eastern. Last night on Deleted Scenes, he told you everything that's happening this weekend. So maybe go back and check that out to know all the stuff he's got coming up. But on Geeky Geezers, what are we going to be talking about on Geeky Geezers on Sunday?
Geeky Geezers on Sunday, we're going to be talking about a Looney Tunes movie that Warner Brothers apparently did not even bother telling one about, which is coming to theaters, which, from what I've seen of it, it looks rather good. And I don't know why they're not giving this movie more attention, but it's Warner Brothers. That's why. We're going to be talking about other things too. There's, I don't know, was there Bond talk this week again? Nolan's being picked for Bond. I think that's another big story.
Right.
And I don't know, hopefully some cool stuff this week. Yeah, but we'll be talking about that on Sunday. And
we have YouTube royalty in the chat. Gary Ambrosia says, "Hail, last call and friends." Thank you so much for stopping in, my friend. We are kind of just wrapping it up, and I'm starting to sober up, so this is probably a good crossover time. But yep. And then Monday, if you guys have not made a decision, you members have not decided what movie we're watching on Monday, I'll just decide between the two tidally locked films. I think it's
going to flip a coin.
The 300 and Animal House. Yeah, I may just flip a coin and we'll see.
Well, we did do the 300 not that long ago.
We did Animal House not that long ago either, so I'm kind of open to either one. There's more boobies, I think, in Animal House, although there's boobies in 300 too. But I think there's more in Animal House. So anyway, so that is Monday, members' night at the movies, and Tuesday is part 2 of Queen of Hearts on live from Sparkwood and 21 over on I almost said Age of Boomers channel, on Deleted Scenes channel. Well, it'll be on your channel too. I mean, it's on all of our channels. But so we're gonna watch the second hour of the 4-hour fan film from Twin Peaks, followed immediately after by the next episode of Blake 7.
Cool.
Thursday, do you know what's happening on Thursday?
Yes, I even gave you my guest.
I'm fuzzy. I can't remember.
My special guest will be Kyle Corwith.
Kyle Corwith, definitely regular in the chat, will be on with Netter on her channel on Thursday at 9 Central. And that brings us back to next week, which I already talked about. So that is the week in review, my friends. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for the likes, the views, the super chats, the memberships, all the ways that you support us, because it's the only way I can justify continuing to do this every week, multiple times a week. Super appreciate you. Boomer, have I missed anything that you can think of?
No, just like I said, we'll be talking more on Sunday about the box office fallout for Mickey 17 too. That's another thing.
That'll be an interesting talk. And of course, Netter, any last thoughts that you had for us?
Just want to remind people that becoming a member, it's less than the price of a cup of coffee. Far less than the price of a cup of coffee. For Troy, I think his lowest tier is $2. My lowest tier is $3.
Think about it this way: you get a free movie every Monday, right? I mean, you know.
Have you been to the movies lately?
Yeah. It's definitely cheaper than renting a film or belonging to a streaming service. Just saying. So there's that.
But yeah, it's like I hope y'all will come by Netter's Network on Saturday for a fish called Wanda. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Make sure make some popcorn beforehand. You're gonna want your popcorn.
Exactly.
And did you want me to take us out?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, y'all know what I always say. We can talk amongst ourselves, and we often do. But it's so much more fun when you guys are joining us in the chat and you're dropping your comments, questions, trivia, being goofy, whatever it may be. And it doesn't feel like we're separated by miles or continents in some cases. It feels like we're all hanging out in our family room. We're enjoying each other's company, passing the popcorn, and having a great time.
Absolutely.
And you guys, you're not just our friends. You're our family.
True.
We love you guys, and we appreciate you so very much. You can be anywhere right now, and you're here. That's so encouraging. And it's not just encouraging to those of us on the panel. It's encouraging, I know, to the chat, because I know when I'm in different chats and I see certain people, it's like they're here.
Yeah.
It's like I just love seeing you guys. It just really makes me happy. And, you know, you guys are Osmo. I tell you guys this all the time. You are Osmo. You support our channels. You encourage us. You guys are so great. And for those of you who aren't a member yet, you know, like I said, it's lowest tier for Troy is $2. For me, it's $3, and you get it for the whole month. So maybe consider that as something. You know, instead of a super chat or super sticker, maybe you become a member for a month. It lasts longer.
There you go.
But you know, like I said, you guys are really wonderful. We appreciate you so very much, because we don't do this for us. We do this for you. And the fact that you keep coming back, we must be doing something right. So thank you for being here. Thank you for encouraging us. And until next time, good night and God bless.
Yep. Thank you guys so much. You guys are wonderful, incredibly encouraging. And just like squirrels, you keep feeding us, we'll keep coming back. So thank you, everyone. Have a great one. Take care, and hope to see you on the next one. Salute.
Good night, ladies.
Good night, sir.
Hit it, sweetheart.
The neon lights are fading, closing time is near. Whispers in the corners, secrets shared sincere. The bartender's polishing the final glass. Time slips away like moving through the grass. Last call for alcohol, make your dreams come true. One more round, friends, from me and you. Let's toast to the night, to the stories we've spun. Here's to the laughter and to what's begun. The shadows are dancing as we linger still. Every clink of a glass, a memory to distill. Beneath this smoky haze, our feelings they unfurl. A tapestry of whispers in this corner of the world. The jukebox serenades us with a final tune, crooning to the lonely and the lovers under the moon. With every soft note, the end draws ever near. But in this fleeting moment, there's nothing to fear. Last call for alcohol, make your dreams come true. One more round, friends, for me and you.